Good afternoon, everyone.
I'm just going to take it and get them to post it, and I'll just.
Are you sure? Because look.
Yeah, it does that on my phone as well, but it doesn't actually work.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's rubbish.
I know.
Still haven't finished that
Row
waterfall.
with them.
No,
Yeah,
me neither.
complain.
I did a little bit and then I've been gone away again and not done anymore.
Hello, Diana. Hello, Dee. Hello, Heather.
Did you catch up on the fruit bowl?
No.
Hello, Kate. Yes, you can. That's fine.
No,
No.
that's my trouble. If I don't actually do it
Come
at
out,
the
yeah.
time, I then don't find time
To actually, yeah, get it finished.
to sit down and
Yeah, and that's the same with me. If I don't finish it on the day,
yeah.
it probably won't get finished.
Yeah.
Everyone in the class says hello, Rosemary. They said hello, but I hadn't got the
And we all say hello,
the right
Rosemary.
sound on. But we've got a few. So we've got Dee, Diana, Heather, Kate, and yes, I dare say it will be a little bit of embossing today.
I bought me board today. Because
I-
I thought you said
I
that
was-
shopping board.
I was feeding a squirrel the other day.
It's a table mat that I
It
use at
looks
home
like
to
that,
put
yeah.
underneath.
It's lovely to have you back, Kate.
Oh, for embossing, that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
It's an embossing table mat.
My table seems to be on a kibble.
More glasses would be a good idea, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it'd be good to see. I think that's always a bonus.
I don't know.
So we've got our squirrel. Now, I didn't do a whole squirrel, so it's a giant squirrel. I might put a little flick of tail
Over the top.
just on the upper left-hand, right-hand corner, just so it feels more squirrely and less rodent-like, although they are rodents anyway, aren't they?
He
But
looks a bit ratty, doesn't he, in this picture?
Yeah.
Because he's up close.
yeah, I love squirrels.
Look at his.
I also
Claws.
thank them for donating hair towards my brushes.
Yes, of course.
It's a very sweet donation of them.
We've got a bird feeder that's stuck on our window, and the squirrel, he just loves it, and he shins up the middle of the windows into it. So we keep moving it, higher, further away. And then within 2 days, he's worked it out.
Yeah, I've seen the ones that grease the pole and put the squirrel cones on, and they just learn how to jump up, and they're clever little things, aren't they? Little cuties.
Clever, naughty things.
I'm going to go because it's going to take me a while to have this all.
Yeah,
Don't have an argument,
Yeah.
Jackie.
yeah. She's gonna row at the post office.
Yeah, I'll probably have to queue up for a long time.
So
So I'll
you're
have it
well
brewing.
ready for
I'll
it.
have it-
By the
That'll make you angrier, won't
Yeah, it
it?
will.
By the time we get to the front of the
By the
queue.
time I get at the front of the queue, they're not going to want to do it.
It's all right. We've got an account with the post office, and what happens is that we just it's automated top up, and we just fill forms in. It's called Pay and Go. So Jackie fills the forms in, prints them off, and then just drops the parcels off at the post office without queuing, and then goes home, and then they post it and sort it and work out the things. It's supposed to be a lot quicker for businesses. However, they have changed their whole website format and how their forms are used, and it's not even working properly. So you can't fill a form in. So she's now got to go and
I'm
queue.
rolling my sleeves up.
Good luck, Jackie.
Barney.
Bless you.
Have fun. Keep me posted.
Haha, I see what you did there.
So,
Bye.
so witty.
I know.
Irritating.
It is. I don't like it when there are updates that are needless.
Yeah, changes for change sake. That's
Yes.
just, I hate it.
And there's always
I
those.
don't like it when big companies irritate me, by closing, closing things, or
Yeah.
but it's just who do they think they are?
But I was, we were talking about, how people get on in life, and often it is like the richer you are, the more contacts you've got, and it's sort of that oriented, isn't it? And you don't care, you don't have the empathy, and it doesn't cost anything. You don't have to be in an experience to have empathy. You just have to listen to what people are saying to be empathic. I think all of the big businesses have lost that human touch now, and it's all about money and profit.
Totally.
Whereas small businesses never prosper because they have too much empathy.
Yeah.
And I always
They
think,
look after their customers.
Yes,
And, yeah.
but there's no money in being nice to
No,
customers.
exactly.
There really isn't. And it's the same as like Vincent van Gogh. When he was a debt collector for school fees, he lost his job because he kept letting people off because he felt so sorry for them.
But then there's not necessarily, you're really good to your customers, but then they're not particularly loyal to you
No,
necessarily.
you don't get customer loyalty, and you don't get because we get customers in that try to hold us over a barrel and go, well, I'll go on Amazon then. I say, well, go to Amazon then. You know, I can't magic up a piece of stock, and I can't magic it up for half price. So don't threaten me, because I'm not about to drop my prices suddenly. If I could do it cheaper, it would already be cheaper. I can't just go, oh well, all right then, I'll keep.
As you
I'll,
said that,
yeah, just for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I still get asked cheaper for cash. Yeah, like no. Somebody said, if I buy 3 sheets of A4 card, can I have discount for bulk buy? I said, I have to buy 500 in a pack, and I don't get discount, so no.
Why did it used to be good when they said cheaper for cash? Was that because you had to pay to bank it or something?
Yeah, on
Yeah.
on card and check, you got charged more.
Right.
Now you're charged regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
But I did find out. I will do some drawing this thing. I did find out once when I went into the bank and I was queuing to pay the cash in. The woman said to me, "Oh, have you used our new paying in machines?" And I said, "No." And she went, "Well, you don't get charged if you." And I said, "Hang on, so you've been charging me for going to the tellers to pay cash in?" And she went, "Oh yes, there's a charge for that." I said, "Well, you've done yourself out of a job now, love, because I'm going to be using that hole in the wall, and I'm never going to talk to a person in the bank if you're going to charge me." But now you just get charged for everything, for cash, for checks, for...
When will it end?
I can remember in the 80s going, I'm asking for cash discount.
Well, you see now, because I am poor, I'm back in my shop in my personal overdraft, and I'm charged 60 pence. No, am I charged 60 pence a day, or nearly £1 a day? I'm in my overdraft. But ironically, if they didn't charge me, within a couple of months I'd be out of it.
Yes, exactly.
And you're in it because
But
you've got the money.
and I'm in it because I haven't got any money. So it's a vicious circle, isn't it? They keep you.
The answer to all of this is cake.
Well, that's the way that's another reason I left HSBC, because they were giving 0% on new credit cards. So I went in to see if I could do a deal on my credit card, because I've got a bit in debt with your credit card, and they said no. And I said, you know, have you got no? Do you not want to help a customer that's been with you for no? You know, we're not interested, basically. No.
It's always offers for new customers, isn't it?
exactly.
It's the same as with teachers and everything. It's always more incentives for new people, where without addressing the problem as to why are people leaving the sector or why are people leaving the bank. We'll just get new people in. Right, our little squirrel. He's not so little. He's probably twice the size of a real life squirrel.
It's like a mutant squirrel.
A mutant squirrel. But look at those eyes.
Attacking the
Oh.
giant squirrel.
Interestingly, this morning I just uploaded the squirrel up a tree that we did a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
The red squirrel. That's now on Artstream.
Is this a grey squirrel?
This is a
Because
grey
it's got
squirrel.
A lot of red in his
They
coat,
have
hasn't
got a
it?
lot of
I
red.
didn't realise.
Our grey squirrels have got a lot of red, whereas have you ever seen the pure black squirrels?
No.
They're black from head to toe. Black nose, black cheeks, black everything.
Where do they hang out?
I think they're American,
Oh, okay.
or somewhere on that continent.
No, I just never realised they were that red.
They
Yeah,
are.
they're quite gingery.
The main thing on them that is grey is their tail.
Yeah. And the
Sweet
tail
classic.
thickness depends on the age, doesn't it? The thinner the tail, the younger the
The
Oh,
squirrel.
is it they get
Yeah.
more bushy as they get
Yeah.
older?
We can always tell the new babies jumping up on our stuff because they've got like tiny, weeny little thin tails.
Yeah.
Really thin. But they still know how to get up on the bird seed.
I reckon the top of the head's about 3 fingers down. I'm doing it roughly in the middle. Roughly 3 fingers.
Don't start, because I've had milk chocolate. I'm ready for a sneeze.
Oh, Kate's got a battery eraser. Well done. Diana's local theatre's kicked out all of the interest groups, even though they've taken donations from them. Didn't the Mill Art Centre do that with a lot of the other groups? They kicked them all out.
And the latest down there is that 2 of the rooms that we normally rent are now only rentable for office space.
Really?
So what element of an arts centre of the community that is?
It's after money, isn't it?
Mm.
Right, 5. How many is this? 1, 2, 3, 5 fingers in. 5 fingers in from the left is the edge of his nose and his head.
5 fingers, you put 4 down there.
4 and 1.
4
Oh,
and
4
1.
and 1.
Yeah.
Because I've only got 4 on a hand, you see, Liz. 5 fingers across. I suppose you could do it almost like a hand.
With your thumb.
A palm. A palm. It'll do. How are you anyway, Robert? You alright?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
The heating's not
Who's eating? Oh no! What, your boiler's not?
for the second time in a month.
Oh no.
As somebody that's only had hot water recently for the first time
Well,
in 2 years, I can fully
la-
sympathise.
Last night I couldn't get the hot water out, but I've just got it to go.
Oh goodness, it's awful. It's absolutely frustrating. Because then last week, you see, I only just got celebratory from my hot water and heating working.
What went wrong last
My
week?
shower broke
That's it. I knew there's something happened.
mid lather.
Oh no! How did you get it off?
Oh, I had to. Oh well, it was gushing out of the underside of the shower, so I was just like throwing it on myself. I thought I'm halfway. I'm committed. There's nothing I can do. And then I'd
It's
text
like
my
when your
landlord.
hairdryer breaks, when your hair's really wet.
Yeah.
And stop. You're like, oh god.
What do I do? And you got half bouffant, half slick.
There's a lot of boilers going wrong at the moment.
I'm having mine serviced on Monday and I don't want to talk about it.
Right, another palm.
Jinx it.
Another palm on the from the other side. So his head is kind of centralised. In a way.
Well, it's all head, isn't it?
It is. It's all about the little squirrely head.
Is that a peanut he's got?
It looks like it is a peanut, not a
Peanut, isn't
walnut,
it?
isn't it? It's not a walnut.
That little heater's on.
A monkey nut.
Keep you warm.
Quite
You can be like Bob Cratchit.
Yeah.
I'll give you another call to throw yourself on the fire. There you are. His head is massive. It's actually 4 fingers deep. And we want a bit of an oval. We'll create an oval. Give him an egghead. Egghead the squirrel. Egghead the squirrel. That's his name now.
Bless him.
I had an egg the other day and the shell was extremely thin. I had to throw it away because it was too thin. Didn't keep very well.
That's something to do with the diet of the hens, isn't
Yeah.
it? That they're not getting.
Very thin.
You've done that oval right over to the other five fingers that came
Yeah,
in.
That's there. Yeah.
God, mine would be massive. I think,
Mine, yeah, mine was
How
not
big are
very
your
big.
hands?
I've got big
Not
fat
that
sausage
big.
fingers.
So yeah, look. It's nestled in between my palms.
Yeah, but it's your hands that are big, isn't it?
Yeah,
My
I've got big
aren't,
hands.
So I'm going to have a massive head. I think I might go 6 fingers.
Yeah, maybe. But it's all relative, isn't it? But yeah, it is. I think Rosemary use a ruler, don't you? So Jackie,
Painful.
well, no, to measure different
Oh, okay,
distances
that's
of the thing. Yes, it wouldn't be an oval with a ruler.
An oval could
A
sit
squoval.
inside
A squoval, wouldn't it? Oh dear. No, to say it's 10:30. We've been quite busy this week so far, which is nice. So if Jackie's gone to argue at the post office, she can be quite vicious, you know.
Yeah, you
She's one of those that once she's gone, she's
Yeah.
you know,
You can
she's
see
smouldering and then she suddenly it goes.
yeah.
You can see it.
I've been on the receiving end very few times. I mean, everybody. I am the hot-headed one, obviously. I am the Basil Fawlty. But
But Jackie can hold her own.
she can hold her own, especially if she's crossed. Like in the and if somebody talks to her like she's
Oh,
just like a young woman who doesn't know
Yeah,
much.
You know nothing.
Yes.
I've had the little Laura Knight poster on the side.
Yes.
Ring you,
Oh,
I've
and you
left
forgot it.
there.
Oh.
How
Oh.
irritating. I wanted you to have it so you could see that wonderful style.
So the back of his back is about 4 fingers down, so it kind of sweeps. Sweep. This isn't Sweep the dog. I used to understand him on Sooty. I always knew what he was saying. Rosemary says no, she's not using a ruler for this. He would be a bit strange.
That's never stopped her before.
Oh no. So we're gonna have a Churchillian squirrel.
Well, give it time.
So instead of holding a peanut, he could be doing the V for Victory sign with his posable fingers.
Yeah, they only come out like Churchill when I'm not really concentrating, and then I look down and there's like a funny expression on the face.
So his eye, we'll mark his eye in because that's quite interesting. It's 2 fingers down from the top of his head, almost a thumb width on the bridge of his nose, and basically 3 fingers up from the bottom, because it's almost central in his head, isn't it? Now his eye is actually the size of my thumb, but it might be the size of, you need more than that, and it's a lovely lemon shape. Rosemary, I'm expecting good things from you because you've been doing some stunning animal portraits lately.
Well, mine looks like a tadpole, or alternatively,
A
something else
tadpole.
that you don't want to know. Yeah.
Okay. Survival of the fittest.
I just need to put the other side of the tail in, and it'll be a tadpole.
Yeah, you see, that's what if I yeah.
I don't know what mine looks like, but I can't get the head shape right.
Well, the head shape is going to change because there's a little triangular bit of level with the eye. If you draw a diagonal line down, about a 45-degree line down, we've got his little V-shaped nose
Yeah, he's sort of.
there. Then we've got his upper lip, haven't we? Which is the width of my thumb. I put my big long tweed coat on yesterday for the first time because it's autumn. And I found it's not cold, but walking through early in the morning it is a bit windy, and I've got a bag of broken walnuts in my pocket that I normally feed the squirrels with, but they're not very.
The leftover from last autumn.
Yeah, they're not very interested because they've got loads of nuts at the minute that they're busy scurrying around.
I'm surprised they haven't sprouted.
No.
Start growing your own.
Then he's got a little recess. He's got a bit of an overbite, and then his bottom lip is about a pencil width. He looks weird. I'm just going to neaten up this bit.
Well.
Do you know the reason why I've been quite evil?
Yeah, well, what's new?
Because the reason why I've chosen this image, A, it's good for technique practice, because I knew you'd hate that, Liz. But also, if it was just a full-on squirrel, it would be easy to fudge, because it's obvious it's a squirrel, you know what I mean? But doing it like this, it's a little bit trickier in order to get the squirreliness of it. And I promise I won't be doing any more jokes. I said I'd squirrel them away for another time, so I didn't annoy you all. No pressure at all, Rosemary. The killer squirrel. Although with my squirrel brushes, I suppose I'm a killer squirrel killer. Although I don't kill them.
Yeah, when you said about them donating, I'm sure they don't give up their fur, you know.
I put little signs up in people's park. Wanted.
Squirrel tail.
Although I fed a lovely little cute squirrel yesterday that had her tail had gone. She'd only got a little stump of a tail, so that the whole point had gone. So she must have been in a fight. They're quite violent to
They're
each
quite
other.
territorial. Yeah.
And it
My
was
Monty brings them in. I told you that.
Yeah.
I went through the cat flap with them in his van.
Did I tell you about the video of a cat I saw that brought a duck through the cat flap onto the landing, and the owners were like, it was early in the morning, we can't make a big fuss because it'll wake the kids up.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how did he get it in? What are we doing? So they're all, the husband and wife and the cat are all on the landing with this duck that's like just sprawled across the thing. And then the duck suddenly realises that there's no cat, wakes up
Yeah.
and stops playing dead and flies to try and get out. And then he's in the bedroom and they have to like keep the cat out of the bedroom. The lady's squealing.
Yeah.
And the man's there trying to get the duck out the window. And he says, oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Please, would you just get out through this
I'm trying
window?
to help you here.
Yes.
We had a mouse last week. One brought a mouse in and it ran underneath the fridge freezer. Well, we put down the humane mouse trap. Would he go in it? Would he buggery? So in the end, we had to lift up the fridge freezer, and he ran so you couldn't get in. And we were just like, look, we want to save you. You're going to die if you stay.
It's funny, I had a chat to the spiders in my bathroom and I said, I'll keep them. I'll keep you as long as you rid me of flies because I've suddenly got tiny little black flies everywhere.
There's loads of fruit, like little fruit
Yeah.
things around at the moment.
And they're just everywhere in the house. And I told the spiders off as I was getting in the shower this morning. I said, look, I agreed to keep you
Yeah,
if you just do your job.
You're not keeping
Get
up your
the-
end of the bargain
yeah.
here, mate.
Eating. Well, now the end of the squirrel nose looks a bit non-squirrely now, so
Well, that's good. Because actually, because they're rodent-like, but they're also like rabbit-like. You know, if we changed his ears, this could be a rabbit. So that's one thing we have to be careful for. Now, his
I think we always
his
change it into a rabbit.
back ear is actually exactly my thumb height, thumb width. So I'll just draw around my thumb, I think.
Oh, it's back ear.
His back ear, not his close to ear.
Front ear.
Oh, hang on, I've just seen a message from Jackie. Cube is through the doors and out into the Castle Key Centre
I was
for
gonna
the
say,
post office.
hopefully she hasn't bashed anyone on the nose. The queue is out. And that's what I said to that woman yesterday. I said, what nose is going to be like at Christmas?
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? Now we're reliant on just that one post office with hardly any staff.
Yeah, all you need is somebody to go in there for a passport application or something, and that's...
well, I have to say, you know, in a way, it's good for the little smaller post offices because
Yeah.
certainly the one round near my mum at Easington, you can
Yeah,
normally get in there. Reasonably
but for those of us in businesses in town,
exactly.
it's
and most of us over at Grimsby have lost our post office.
Oh, it's like they've got you over a barrel, haven't they?
yeah,
Isn't cheese very good?
yeah,
I think that's the thing. You're lucky, aren't you? If you live near.
You live near Easington's excellent.
It is excellent.
So
But
the-
they don't open. They have our low opening or something.
Oh, they closed yesterday at 12 o'clock.
Hmm.
They were supposed to stay open till 5 and everybody was having a nutter outside. I don't know what that was all about though, because it just suddenly said new opening hours today only.
Today.
so the closer ear is slightly taller, only slightly taller than the left ear,
Well, that is
and
small now.
then there's a very short gap between the two ears, and it's actually down to the ear hole. It's 3 fingers.
It's a massive ear, isn't it?
That's really big.
Yes.
Big ears.
Big ears, the squirrel.
Actually, that looks kind of random, doesn't it? Because the ear on the back.
Yeah, but that does include like where it goes in as a bit of ear like that, and then that goes up and curl over. If I get rid of the excess lines,
That's like a bat's ear.
yeah.
Well, so far this has been a bat.
Halloween horror squirrel, Heather's saying, and Diane.
All sorts of things.
Well,
so
the one thing it
far.
doesn't look like is
A squirrel.
squirrel.
Well, no, when will it look like a squirrel? When is a squirrel a squirrel?
No, I think that ear's a bit too close to his arm.
Yeah, it's about 2 fingers away. The edge of his eye to... Yeah. Oh, I've got that right. Gosh, I'm good at this.
Poor Jackie, she won't get home till about 4 o'clock. by the time
Well, I
she's
know, but
finished there.
I'm hoping she gets back just to get the kids back from school. Because I think they were walking, but...
Well, that's it not half term.
Oh, it is half term. She hasn't got where else she can stay. Or she can stay as long as it takes then, really. There's me being all concerned.
Oh yes.
I've got no need to...
Unnecessary.
No.
Unnecessary.
Unnecessarily concerned for a minute. Oh, gosh. As long as she doesn't
Watch this on the-
try and
Stab something.
charge me for an hourly rate. Although, saying about stab somebody, there was that woman down south that did her husband in after 26 years.
She was laughing.
And she was like, they said how many times, and she went, well, I did it the once, and he's like, well, he hasn't got one.
Yeah.
Lovely.
I think she must have just snapped, had enough
She'd
of,
been bullied,
yeah,
hadn't she?
yeah.
It's clearly a nasty
And then she was arrested for attempted murder, and she went, well, hopefully it won't be attempted if I've done it properly.
Yes.
And then when she actually got arrested for murder, it was, oh, good,
Yeah.
I did it right then.
Yes, he's dead. Thank goodness.
So, blimey,
She clearly got some
'cause it's-
mental health
it's
issues.
it's all
And he clearly was not a very nice
no,
person.
it's a culmination of everything, isn't it? But
Now the ears don't look right, Barry.
let me see. I think your head's just a little bit big, and I'll tell you about the squirrel in a minute. Oh,
Right, I'm off.
we've got a joke, haven't we, at your
No,
expense?
you have to joke at my expense.
Yeah, I think if you bring
Right,
your ears are the right size.
okay. That front bit's looking quite squirrely.
Yeah, I think bring that over, and I think your eye is the right size, but it needs to. Yeah, so I think it needs to start there
Okay.
and go to there, and that will change it. Yeah, squirrelish.
Squirrel is.
Squirrelish. Oh, he looks very happy, Sue.
He's a smiley squirrel.
He's got all the nuts.
He's a happy
He's
little
he's remembered
squirrel.
where he's put them.
Yeah.
Well, wait until we do his little paws.
He's found Barry's
Although they're
stash
not,
in his coat
they're not
pocket.
so little, are
They're
they?
huge. Those claws are enormous.
I hope they don't find my stash because I've still got those vivid memories of me having to shake one off
Yeah,
my
shake
trouser
that
leg.
squirrel off your leg, yeah.
If they climbed up my coat, I think I'd. They've always got little bags under. I think they stay up far too late on the Xbox. They've always got little.
Net all over here now.
It's my new aftershave.
When you move it, what?
It's called
Over
called
Dettol.
COVID. Eau de COVID. Yeah. I'm antiseptic.
Within something.
Right, now I look like it's a sleepy squirrel. Now, what is really interesting with this is that although the squirrel is in profile, we can actually see the other arm under his neck, can't we? We can see it coming through. So we've got the neck there, but the arm is coming through there, and it's only like a pencil
Do they have
width.
arms, Barry?
Of course they have arms. They have arms, legs and feet.
Or do they have paws?
Front leg. Is it front leg and back leg? Is that what you call it?
Yes, that's what I thought. Maybe
Front leg.
arms. I don't know.
But he's got hands. And posable thumb, haven't they? So hope there's no squirrel revolution, because they could really.
Is that little bit under his mouth? Is that coming out of his mouth? Like his mouth is
That
extended?
that's his mouth there, and
Tell you what, it's
that's
hard to
his
see over here.
that's his lip. Have you got a bit of Oh, have I headbutted the
It's
camera?
shiny.
When did I headbutt the camera? Nobody said.
No, it just shines on it a bit. That's all.
Is it that light that shines on it?
Yeah, don't turn it on.
No, if I turn it off, it's too dark. That's the problem. Do you know, it's not the best placement for that light, but it's as far as the plug reaches.
Yeah.
so,
Shining in the eye.
yeah, I could move it this way a bit, maybe.
Well, I could come and sit over there, really.
So, back paw is extra thumb width out from his nose. So it comes out quite a way, but I'm just going to draw it like a hook for now. And then the second front leg and paw is a little finger width under his little jaw, and that he's got a little fat roll there, look. Oh, he's so cute. And then his paw, I'm going to draw as a big ball. That's a. Do you know, his paw is about 3 fingers wide. To the sort of wrist. Do they have wrists? No. What would it be? Elbow, ankle. Because his elbow. How deep is it?
He's got an elbow, but he's got no.
Have you got their hand?
That'd be his knee then, would it?
I don't. No, his elbow would be his knee. Yes. But it bends like a human elbow, doesn't it? Whereas back legs. Although actually, squirrels' knees bend the way that humans' legs do, don't they? They've got almost like an extra joint. If you think about it, they come out, leg, extra leg, down, and foot. Oh, we do have some interesting conversations.
About squirrel anatomy. Let's just be
No.
honest about
So if I
it.
sit
Do you-
here, can you see?
Do you want me to move stuff
Yeah,
out the
I think
way?
so.
No, you're all right. I'm just coming over so that I can see properly what you're doing.
Mine definitely looks like a rat.
Okay.
Just about sitting here. There's another light shining on it.
Which light's that? I think it's
There's
that
a
one.
light shining right on his nose.
Yeah.
I don't know which one it is, but there's a light
it that
shining
one?
right on his nose. No,
No.
It's a projector.
it's probably the projector.
It is the projector.
So anyway, but we'll just have to
Right.
I've got
struggle on.
perfect.
Oh.
You're perfect.
Couldn't be better.
Fully for you.
He's got no eating though.
Yeah, swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Sitting on top
It's
of
good to
the
have something good in you, Joe.
We'll let you off.
So the monkey nut is 2 fingers. It's quite a big monkey nut, isn't it? It's a big old nut.
Big old nut.
And then his little paws, claws. But he's got little knuckle joints. Oh, look at him.
Like I say, we're just not. We're not up on.
No, we
Squirrel,
need a vet to tell us that we're humanising, anthropomorphising.
What part of that word? Yeah.
You know what the word crepuscular means?
Oh yeah, it's like a cat is yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
crepuscular. Cats,
Crepuscular.
big cats and normal cats are crepuscular, which is sort of neither nocturnal nor daylight. They're dusk predators.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
twilight predators.
Radio 3 have got this thing on this week where they're celebrating all things twilight. And
Okay.
oh my god, if I've heard the word crepuscular once, I've heard it a million times. Like, right, I get it now, I know what it means.
If it comes up on the chase,
Or University Challenge.
we'll all be okay.
or Only Connect. I haven't seen that for such a long time.
Well, I have to. Monday night is only connect
I
night.
see. I teach on a Monday night.
The old
I
Victoria
love
College.
Victoria.
Yeah, she is.
She dippy though.
She makes me laugh. She's on the Taskmaster at the moment. Have you ever watched Taskmaster?
Yeah, with
Oh,
what's his name? Big tall guy.
Greg.
Greg.
And she's on there. And honestly, I don't think she's ever watched it. And she's absolutely so out of her comfort zone. It's unbelievable.
Oh, there's a claw down here. I've just spotted that
Of course,
claw
you've got
under
1,
his
2, 3,
nuts.
4.
One
Oh,
of
that
these
one,
as
yeah.
well.
There.
Oh, yeah.
That bit.
Well,
Oh,
she's
it's
she's done at the post office, so
Oh,
it's only
that's not
taken a
bad.
half an hour.
That was quite quick.
That's quite quick. I was expecting longer than that.
Maybe it's because lots of people gave up. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's good, isn't it? I was in a traffic jam and all the cars in front of me
Turned
decided to turn round, but as soon as I got there, it had cleared, so it was fine.
On his front paw, the one that's closest to us, Barry, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4
It's no better.
claws, and then there's a sort of lumpy
There,
bit.
that bit there.
What's that lumpy bit?
There.
Yeah.
I've no idea.
Actually, it is better over here.
Is it?
I've told you this, I'm like this in a tea shop.
I could have played some music while you were finding the right seat.
Musical
Yeah.
chairs.
Sit still when
Musical
the music
chairs.
stops.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what is that, Barry? What is that lump?
Oh, they have a trainee member of staff in the post office. That's it. That's it. Today. I don't know what that lump is. I can't.
So where's the-
Here.
It's on his sort of his wrist, and I don't think it's an extra finger.
No, I
Let
did
me.
wonder if it was an
I'm
extra
going to
finger, but-
Google squirrel
Now,
hand.
do you see how many fingers they've got?
My Google search engines are
I see.
What, your search history?
Yeah.
That's strange.
squirrel hand.
That claw is like a bird of prey.
It is, and they've got talons, aren't they?
Mind you, Monty's hands, when I push his
Oh,
paws
it
out,
is, look.
his claws, they're like blooming talons.
This is the little squirrel waving hello to us all.
Hello.
Hello, look at me with my little squirrel.
Look at the size of his
He's got a little
fingernails.
lump, hasn't he? Yeah. Where it's got
So there, but look at the pads. There's a lot of pads on there, I suppose, for grippage.
yeah.
So he's got like an extra
Lump.
lump at the back.
Mm-hmm.
So which would be a thumb, I suppose,
Makes them fun.
But it hasn't got a claw.
but without a claw. So he's got 4 fingers and a lump. But like you see those 3 pad areas, that's what you get from most animals, isn't it? On the base. But then there's an extra 2 where their back thump is. So their paws are actually a lot longer,
Yes.
and obviously their feet are quite. Oh, isn't he so cute? Just look at. I love the way they have the little arms like. Oh, I'm gonna save that because I like that.
Oh dear, Barry, you're such a softie sometimes.
You know, it's the same as when I'm watching a horror film or a scary thing. I'm fine with people being blown up, but the moment the dog gets hit, I'm a mess. I can't be doing it.
When we watch things with animals, like all creatures, if there's something on the floor, I'm going to Roger. Is he acting? Is that an acting dog? Is that horse acting? Did you see the one where the horse had got the twisted?
Yeah, the baby.
And I was going, oh, was it acting? Ooh.
It was good because we must be on the last of the series, aren't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah.
Oh, Heather says we could just put a bush in front of him. Yeah.
Good thing
Don't
about
lead a
that.
rebellion, Heather. We can't be doing with this rebellion so soon into the lesson. It's not even tea o'clock. He's cracked his nut open, hasn't he?
That's why he's smiling. Well, he's got his claws actually in it, hasn't he? Those-
Yeah. I was watching them in the park. I was late this morning because I was watching them scurrying around. And the way they open sweet chestnuts, it's like those spikes mean nothing to them.
Really?
They're just like, whew. Yeah. And there's me like, ooh, 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 ooh.
Yeah, bit sore, bit sore. Yeah, so he's actually got his claws right inside.
Yes, because there's a bit of nut torn open
Yeah, so
there, isn't there?
he's sort of-
Where he's peeled it.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. Rosemary's agreeing, and Diana, you're all naughty. They're all wanting to shove a bush in front of it. Oh, and I think I've got a customer. Weird customers, all in high-vis jackets. I'm either going to be arrested or I'm going to earn some money.
Or somebody's nicking something.
Yeah.
I need to tell you they're cutting your electricity off, Barry.
Perhaps they're bringing Jackie back.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Oh,
just
yeah, she is
arrested
in a
her.
white jacket. What's going
Arrested her in
What's
the
going
post
on?
office.
Is she cuffed? I'll go down and have a look. It's looking alright. I need to put the focus back. I think that looks like a squirrel. I would be expecting it to be a
Mine
squirrel
looked
at
better
this
before
point.
You touched it.
Oh, never let Barry know.
Well, fine. I won't touch it ever again.
His face did look a bit more squirrely.
Mine looks like a very badly made glove puppet.
Yeah. What a funny shape. It looks so sort of easy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When you look at your own and you think,
It doesn't look right at all. So how was your thing at Milton Keynes then, Liz? Was it worth going?
oh, it was wonderful, didn't I tell you?
I think
yeah.
I'm not quite sure whether you did or not.
I think no, it was excellent, Sue. You really did ought to go and see it.
Yeah, I
It
will
was
try.
a revelation. The gallery was
Mhm.
an absolute revelation because we've seen the gallery.
Well, yeah, I
we've
mean,
been to the
you
theatre.
said about that you'd seen the outside of it and
Well, it just-
weren't wildly impressed.
No, it just looks like a public convenience. This is a little gallery in Milton Keynes, a little art gallery, right by the theatre.
Yes.
And we've it's just like a cube. It looks like nothing from
Okay.
outside. It's huge inside.
Yeah.
Absolutely
It's a
massive.
TARDIS.
And they've got the most incredible Dame Laura Knight exhibition on at the moment. You know, she was a war artist and she did some of the wonderful paintings in factories and in the cockpit of the Spitfires.
They were just
the
weird
pilots
people.
going,
Okay.
Absolutely
There's a lot on the bow.
brilliant.
Right, I'm going to do a little line there.
Yeah, I'll have to try and get over there.
Because I did say, because you've got a lovely cafe.
Yeah,
Where's this? What have I missed?
it's Milton Keynes
That
place.
convinces me.
Well, I'm the same, Robert, you see. I'm the same.
Is there a
There's
nice
cake.
cafe?
When
Decent coffee.
when I used to do adult education, they used to think I was really odd because one of the things I'd say is when I was off to give a lecture would be, when's the coffee break? And they used to say to me, why are you so concerned? And I said, but from a teaching point of view, the coffee break is just as important because that's where a lot of extra learning goes on because they're exchanging ideas about what they learned in the first half. And
Questions that they don't want to ask in class.
exactly. So for me, I find coffee breaks are
Very important.
very important.
Obsessed with cake.
Any
Must have
particular cake? All cake?
Whenever we went on a training course, it was always, do they provide lunch?
Yes,
That was the main
all of my training in CPD when I was in education was based around which course provided the
Yeah.
best buffet. I can tell you, Saltwell's Education Centre in Netherton used to do the best buffets. I did nearly all of my training at
Well, that's
Saltwell's.
strange, isn't it?
Yes, my dyspraxia, dyslexia, SEN awareness days, all of that kind of stuff. It was all down to the buffet.
Yeah. When I was training as a teacher, I used to get fantastic training days. It all went out the window as time went on.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Good, lunches.
Baker.
Yeah, what?
Were they Baker Day?
Oh, were they Baker Days? No, Baker Days were before my time, actually. But they were the same, but
So
they
What
were
were
different
Baker
names.
days? Pardon me asking. What
But
Baker Day?
somebody Baker was education,
Oh, okay.
wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yeah, Education Secretary of State for Secretary for Education. State. Yeah, Secretary of State for Education, and he introduced the whole idea that teachers might need a little bit more training along the way after they've completed
Oh, right, yeah. So
Their training.
their training. Like
It-
forever.
It's interesting that
Yeah.
teachers.
It was revolutionary and caused a tremendous furore.
well, I can remember having, one teacher at our school, and he taught the same thing for the last God knows how many years. He'd got the same notes, and he just
And
did the
things
same
change
thing
though,
over
don't
and
they?
over and over
I mean,
again.
I remember when I was helping in numeracy lessons, the way the kids were taught then,
maths is
it was nowhere near what I was, and it was way above what I was taught. It was almost GCSE level, and now it's even more.
It's really confusing.
I couldn't do it. When we used to do mental math warm ups, I used to feel physically sick
Yeah.
because I can't. I have dyscalculia, so
Yeah.
I put my numbers back to front, and if I'm nervous,
Yeah.
I can't even use a calculator. And there's me as an adult,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
the
wow.
second adult in the
Trying to stay
classroom,
out.
trying to escape or make excuses and feeling physically sick. And then I think, what about the kids that aren't academic in this way? If I feel under this pressure,
Exactly.
oh,
But my granddaughter said, "Oh, we're doing set theory." This is at primary school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about set theory, because I did set theory at university.
but yes, this
I
is
didn't understand.
no.
So she explained it to me,
Did she?
and it all made sense.
Oh.
Yeah.
She's got a good teacher then.
Yeah.
Teacher,
But
yeah.
it was just amazing. What
'Cause
set theory?
I haven't got a clue
It's
about
like they do
anything.
English as well with the grammar and some of the things
Oh,
that come out
fronted
with-
adverbial
Yeah, and all that
things.
stuff.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you've got authors going, I'm a best-selling author and I haven't got a clue what one is. Do you need one? And I remember when Jackie's kids were learning all about that, it actually destroyed their love of reading,
Yeah.
because they were going, I'm not reading that book because they haven't got a fronted adverbial and they haven't used this clause and they haven't used that. So it makes them critique the work rather than enjoy the work.
Yeah. Take it to bits
So
and pieces.
sometimes it's good. I'll never forget, D Squirrel looks like a fat lizard.
Nice.
We're
Oh.
going to have a whole zoo of animals, aren't we? By the time we're finished.
Yeah, I'm going to emboss now. The thing that you've all been waiting for. If I can find my embossing tool. Oh, I found it.
The thing we're all here for.
I'll do it just really quickly. Well, you don't have to emboss. It's one of those that you have to do. It's all or nothing, isn't it? You see, when I was at school, it was hundreds, tens, and units, where you wrote HTU on the top of the sum.
Don't you do that?
They don't do that now. No, and then it went into number bonds and number lines, which I can't do.
When my kids were doing it, they used to do things called chunking,
Yeah,
which I never quite
chunking.
chunking.
Yeah.
Never got any idea what that was.
No, it's good that it's evolving to help children, and it does help them a lot more, because in the 80s when I was in primary school, I just have to drop that in, obviously. 1980s, 1980s, in the late 20th century,
Yes.
the late 1900s, when I was at school, we didn't even learn times tables, because we were in the throes. Yeah, we were in the creative curriculum period, which was really good for arty people like me, because you'd read the teacher would read a story, and that would become the basis for your maths lesson, your art lesson, your geography lesson, and all of that. But it did mean I don't know sentence structure. We just used a coloured pencil for a capital letter and a full stop. We didn't do clauses.
I have no idea how I even got on in life, to be honest, because I think there's been so many changes when I was at school.
Yeah.
So I went to one school where they did tables, and then the next one they didn't, and then the next one they did, and then the next one they didn't, because we moved around a lot. And I started off at school when they got this very strange new reading scheme where all the letters were back to front.
Yeah, and they had these
And
strange
joined
letters.
together,
Yes.
yeah,
We
yeah.
didn't actually do that at school, but I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I knew. I know that other
luckily,
schools did it.
I'd already learnt how to read when I went to
Yeah,
school,
so did I.
which was just as well because I would have been completely confused. But you know, to be honest, it's all about finding your own way. And as I used to say to the kids when I was teaching, you know, it doesn't really matter in a way which way you find.
As long as it works.
particular maths, as long as you find it easy.
Yeah.
And if that's the way that you like doing it, then you do it that way. You know.
Yeah.
So you can get so hung up with, oh, I've got to do it this way. And
Well, I think when I was in my last year of primary school, there'd been some governmental change, and they were panicking that a whole generation of kids didn't know their times tables. So the teacher put us all in the hall with a cassette tape called the times table rap, and it was 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, you know, all that kind of business. And we just used to jig around in the hall reciting times tables, and none of us ever knew any of it.
Well, when I was teaching year 6, I had a little boy who was wonderful. Freddie was his name, and he was gifted and talented at maths. It frightened me to death because he was much, much cleverer than me as far as maths was
Yeah.
concerned. He was 10, and he was so sharp and so quick and very talented.
Well, some children just get it, don't they?
Just get it, yeah, absolutely.
I
He
did
was
not get it.
Such a clever boy, but I don't know my 10s.
I know my 7s and my 9s.
I learned the difficult ones.
We used to have to do that. We had a teacher that he wouldn't let us
Those
go
are good
home. He
ones,
used to go
yeah.
round the
Yeah.
class.
I know. I only know those, and I don't know why.
Until you got one right, you couldn't go home.
And then I learned that you could do the 9 times table on your hand.
I learned 8 8s for 64
'Cause you've
that
got-
always comes up.
1 9 is 9,
Yeah.
2 9s 18, you know, and all of
Yeah.
that. 2 9s is 18, 3 9s are 27, 4 9s are
You're just
36,
like me,
5
though.
9s are 45.
You go 2 9s are 20.
So
five,
just
six, seven,
move
seven.
it down. Oh gosh, if I didn't have fingers, I couldn't add up because I use them for everything.
But then didn't they go through a stage where they only did up to the 10 times table? Because we did up to
We
12
only
times
did
table.
yeah. When we were eventually learnt tables, we only went up to 10.
Yeah, because we did up to 12.
12.
Because it was deep.
Yeah.
14.
Oh, did you?
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh. No, we never went that far.
And then I failed GCSE maths.
I can't remember 13 or 14.
Dee's saying that she was taught to learn in bases, base 12, 20, 14 and 16.
That's the one. But in those, you're there, but 12s is obviously useful if you've got shillings.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think with currency change, that makes a difference, doesn't it?
270, the world share.
Oh, I'll tell you something interesting. I found something out that when they said, you know, that the cost of living started skyrocketing against against you know, wages, against minimum wage in about 1971, 1972. Somebody's worked out that if wages had kept in line with the cost of living,
Yeah.
the minimum wage would be £35.87 an hour.
An hour, blimmin' egg.
And that's shocking. You know, even next year in April, I think minimum wage goes up to £9.50 an hour.
Yeah.
But when you consider it, in order to live comfortably, buy houses and stuff, you should be on 35, nearly 36. That's
That is
way.
scary.
That is really scary.
Also, I think somebody was saying in the paper that because it's going up to £9.50 an hour, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they're saying that they're on £9.50 an hour now. Theirs isn't going to change.
No.
But all these other people are going to be coming up to what they're earning. So what incentive have they got to?
You see, I agree. I thoroughly and heartily agree that that people should be paid more.
Oh yeah, I do.
However, as a small businessman myself, when I haven't got the money coming into my business, how can I afford
Yeah.
to pay my staff, which will probably end up being more an hour than I'm actually on? And I own the business, you know? And I find that quite scary, that I want to pay, well, I've only got Jackie at the moment, but I want to pay Jackie a living wage, which would be £15 an hour. But when I've only got one customer in 6 hours spending £5, it's hard. It's really hard. Oh, I've got a customer. I better go down.
About that one
But-
customer.
Talk of the devil.
You know,
Customer quick.
I've done his head anyway. I'm just trying to follow the contours of the fur that I can see on there.
It's got furry ears as well.
But yes, you're right. It would be nice if people were actually on minimum wage, and I totally disagree with 0 hour contracts because they're only used to be used. I'll do the drinks order while I'm down there.
It's just, yeah.
So, Liz,
I've done mine.
Are you a
and,
tea?
I've paid for it.
Okay.
I'll pay for mine as well.
I'm having a black coffee.
black
today.
coffee, Sue,
I'm having a lemon fizzy lemon.
a lemon.
one
Oh,
of those.
yeah, and Robert,
White Americano.
a white Americano.
I've got a flapjack to come up as well, which
Oh.
I paid for. Because I like cake.
I've had my cake.
You've had your. Oh, I wouldn't have had one if you hadn't been.
Oh, yeah, blame it on me,
And that
Liz.
made me think. Ooh,
Yeah, like it's all my fault.
Yeah, it was. It was. Oh, I've got another 2 workshops, Sue.
Oh, have you? What, in school or
Yeah.
where are you going?
I don't know. She hasn't said yet. She just messaged to say 2 Saxon workshops.
Oh, okay, Saxon.
I know. That's what I said.
I didn't know we did Saxon workshop.
I certainly haven't done one or watched one.
Well, there you go then.
But you know me, I'm just like, yeah, whatever,
Yeah, go
bring
on
it
then.
on. But yeah.
I was doing stuff yesterday and tomorrow. I'm doing activities.
Yeah.
So yesterday we were doing woolly mammoth masks and ammonites.
Ooh, that's
Tomorrow
nice.
I'm doing slime.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And a book on slime on the radio this week.
Really?
Book of the week at 9:45 in the morning
Mm-hmm.
on the other radio. Not radio.
Not right with the group of skills. What's it about slime then?
Well,
Slime in nature?
Yeah, well, there's been a debate going on really since the end of the 18th century, so the 19th century, about whether slime was part of the origin of life, and so apparently you can write at least 5 chapters on this because chaps.
Oozy stuff.
Yeah,
And what was it?
Primeval ooze.
and it begins with our fascination with slime,
Yeah.
human fascination with slime.
I don't think I've got a fascination with slime, to be honest.
Well, kids certainly have.
They have.
They love
That's
slime.
true, isn't it?
It's
And
true.
you can buy synthetic slime now, can't you?
Yes.
Is that what you're doing, Sue? Are you making
We're
slime?
making slime, yeah.
You know how to do it, do you? Sue?
No, I don't. I'm learning tomorrow morning
Okay.
before the.
Do you know what the ingredients are?
No.
5 minutes before the kids
But
Yeah.
first find the smelly pod.
That's real slime. I tell you what, though, if you want to feel some slime, which is amazing, remove a couple of slugs from a plant in your garden at 10 o'clock at night, and then try and get it off your hands.
Oh, really?
It's incredible,
Mhm.
absolutely, because they put slug and snail slime now into moisturisers because it's so good for
Really?
your skin. But honestly, the protective layer of that slime, because of course they use it, don't they, to move
to
and
move
to
along.
keep themselves.
Yeah.
You cannot. It took me about an hour.
They come
Washing
into
my
my
hands.
house on a regular basis, do sluggies,
Yeah,
and leave their trails around. And I still haven't worked out where they're coming from. I think.
they
Fine.
just come in.
And so maybe I just need to lie down on the living room floor and let them slime all over me, and it'll make my skin wonderful.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
they're amazing. I must admit, I do have a little bit of a thing in a positive way about snails and
Sluggies.
I love them. So perhaps actually I do like slime.
Yeah, well there you go. It just comes out in a slightly different way to
Yeah.
everybody else.
Yeah, I think they're quite amazing. Snails in particular.
Do you eat snails?
No.
No?
No.
Not even nice
I've
bit
tried them,
nice
but
bit of garlic butter.
Yuck.
Cooking garlic and butter.
Have you had one?
No. Well, I have had one once.
I tried one once. But I don't mind the garlic and I like the stuff you cook it in.
Oh yes, the sauce.
That's
as well.
nice, but I don't particularly like
The
the.
texture is a bit more tricky.
Well, I was brought up eating, and when Doris was here the weeks ago, we were
Oh,
chatting,
Winkles.
yeah, about the winkles. And
Yeah.
of course, a winkle,
It's the
we
same.
were brought up as kids eating winkles.
Yeah, me
it's just
too.
like a blimmin' snail.
Yes.
But now, I could not eat
I
it
would,
if you
no,
paid
I wouldn't touch it
me.
with a barge pole. But
Like,
yeah,
ugh,
we
I
used to have it every Saturday night.
Yeah, we did. Isn't that funny, Sue? That's such
Yeah.
a London thing.
It
must
is.
It
be.
is. Whereabouts in London were you?
Well,
I was in Essex, but my dad was a Cockney, so we had
So I lived for 8 years in Romford. And
oh yeah, I was in Grays, just
Okay.
a little bit down the
so I
road.
lived in Giddy Park, and there was a pub across the road called the Drill. I was on a roundabout, and they had a winkle little wooden stall.
Oh yeah.
And they used to queue up on a Saturday night.
It was a thing, wasn't it? And we had
And
bread
whelks,
butter.
my
Whelks,
nan used to
yeah.
love whelks and
Sprats.
cockles and
Jelly deal.
jellied eels, yeah, all that stuff.
I don't even eat fish
And
anymore,
liquor.
and I think that's
Liquor.
why.
Liquor.
I think it put me
That's
off.
all. Eels and liquor. Well,
and liquor,
not bad.
But they used to come in, didn't they? We'd have a plate of the winkles in front of us, and you'd have some white bread and butter.
We used to have
And
brown breads and butter.
Oh,
with
did
that,
you?
Yes.
And vinegar.
Was that posh?
I think it
Yeah,
probably was.
probably
And then we used to have an egg cup full of vinegar.
Vinegar,
and
yeah.
then your needle.
And your needle, take the little cap off,
Yeah.
pull it out, dunk it in the
Dunk it in the
vinegar.
vinegar, and then
Oh,
while my dad was doing his Paul's coupons,
Yes.
I was listening on the radio to the football
report.
results.
it's like another blooming era. I mean, honestly,
Well, it is. It's,
compared to what we're talking
Yeah.
about in life now, it's just madness. I'm going to sneeze, and I promise you I have not got COVID.
It's alright, let you off.
No, it might be going. I
My
might not
daughter's
rid
had
of
a
it.
terrible cold. There's this nasty cold going
Liz,
around.
was that black coffee? Yes.
No, I haven't got. No, it's gone then. I haven't got a cold, but I'm almost a bit hay fevery in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe there is still allergies going around.
I can't stop thinking about it.
We used to have a proper fish and chip shop in Grays, not fish and chip shop, fish shop in Grays where you could go and buy a pint of winkles
Yeah.
on a Saturday.
My mum's mum, so my nan, worked in a fish and chip shop through the war, and she used to serve Diana Dawes
Oh yeah.
and Hattie Jakes.
Mhm.
They used to call because they were young actresses
Mm.
then, and they used to come in and they'd have no money, and of course fish and chips was off ration apparently. You could have fish
Yes,
and
you
chips.
could, yeah.
And my nan used to let them have it for
Oh,
nothing because they
bless
were
her.
actresses.
Because they
Yeah,
were.
that's my
Oh.
mum's real claim to fame. My
Oh.
mum used to. But yeah, honestly, happy times. Earl's Court we lived, well my mum lived, mum and dad lived in Earl's Court. Yeah, we lived in Kensington, but they never brought up in Earl's Court. But they used to go shopping on the North End Road.
Yeah.
You know the North End Road? Oh hello.
Yeah.
Hello. You alright?
Look at
Not
us all
fallen
here.
asleep yet.
A positive crowd.
It is,
Oh
isn't
look,
it?
I shouldn't have paid, should I? We got free
Well, you get-
blackjack.
You get a bit of extra then, don't you then?
Take one home for Roger and you.
Take one.
In a
oh,
bit- in a
I'll take it
napkin.
home for you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, look at it on a posh slate.
I know.
Get you with your posh slate.
It's quite nice, isn't it?
It does look quite nice,
White
actually.
coffee, bit of floppy jack.
Oh,
Thank you, Kat.
thank you, Kat.
Very well.
It's marvellous. We're always so well looked after here, aren't we?
This is
Sounds
almost
very
like
good,
it
you know.
used
Thank
to
you very
be.
much, ma'am.
It's almost like the old
Go,
days.
sweetie.
Three
Thank
of
you.
us
It's
here.
nice and cold. Thank you.
I'm all for his nips.
That's Sam Pellegrini.
Quite
It is,
a way to
isn't
put
it? I
that.
just need something a bit refreshing.
Have you ever had Winkles, Kat?
Oh god, yeah, a long time ago when I was a kid.
Yeah,
Well,
I
Well,
quite liked them, I'll be honest, cockles and winkles I did. But I'm a veggie now and the very thought of it,
No,
no,
Sam.
I
I'm
wouldn't
not
do
a
it.
veggie at the very thought of it makes
But yeah, I have had,
You
yeah.
were brought up eating the blooming things. And
Only
you
if we
absolutely-
went to the seaside or
Yeah.
occasionally off Banbury Market.
Oh, really?
Very rarely. There used to be a fish store when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And me and my cousin used to get prawns very often. You'd buy a big bag of prawns,
Yeah.
little tiny baby prawns. Oh, they were gorgeous.
Yeah.
Or sometimes we bought peas off the veg man instead and walked around the town podding
Pudding the
peas and
peas,
eating
eating
peas.
raw
Yeah.
peas, lovely.
Depends what mood we're in. But
Simple times.
I know. Oh, they were lovely. They were lovely.
Oh, how strange.
We used to go down to the cockle sheds at Leon Sea and get cockles.
Have you finished doing your embossing, you two?
I've only done his head, and he hasn't done him. He's not done his body, has
Hasn't
he?
he? Aren't we supposed to be embossing the whole?
I think we are.
I think we
Oh,
are.
are we? I could have just done his head.
This is going to
I
take me.
suppose we're going to have to do it eventually, aren't we?
It's going to take me years.
Do you know, I remembered that I had to bring an embossing tool, but I forgot to bring the carbon, whatever it is, powder.
Oh, yeah, I've got that. I've got graphite. Remember when we did that on the squirrel?
Yeah.
That took ages, didn't it? To do all the embossing on that one. Well,
Thank you. Really cool. It looks effective when it's done. I agree.
Well, I struggle to see where I've been.
exactly. So when are you doing these schooly things then, Liz?
Couple of weeks.
Alright.
Sometime in November. I don't know whether she wants me to go down for a briefing first, because I won't know what I'm doing. Hopefully I'm not taking it.
No, just there as an assistant.
Yeah. I mean, I'm quite good at doing things on my feet, but I need a bit more knowledge about
Well, that's why I
practice.
said about this slime. I really need to know what I'm doing before I get, before they all arrive.
What age group's that then?
I think they're probably like 5 to. I mean, we always have some little ones though as well, so could be anything between 3 and 10 or 11, I suppose.
When does the Saxon era begin?
Oh, now you see. I did the Saxons when I was teaching. It's such a long time ago. I can't remember. I'm afraid my Saxon knowledge is.
Well, it's not a weird workshop we've ever done before, is it?
No, it is not.
Would it end with 1066?
I don't know.
I don't really am the conch.
Of Norman.
Maybe. I honestly don't know.
Who was the Saxon kid? Is Alfred the Great a Saxon?
I have got a browser in the shop, but I've told her that she can walk to the counter for me if she wants to buy something. Do a little dance.
You told something while you were down there.
I did. I had another student, a Monday morning student in, topping up, so it was
Well, I
worth
thought
me
some
going
stuff.
down.
So you've done quite well then. I've done what you're taking, haven't
Yeah, Jack. Maybe Jackie will get paid this week.
I? No, I pay for next year's art history.
Oh, okay.
Because you're coming to the Egyptian one this week, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
And you are.
I've especially taken the day off,
Have you? Oh
Oh,
gosh.
you Sue, bless you.
It better be good, man.
Better then.
Oh God. I was just gonna play the Bangles Walk Like an Egyptian, do a dance, and then you can clear off. That's all I had planned.
Read the book.
Yeah.
That's what Roger asked me to ask you, Barry.
Yes.
Appertaining to the fact that the Egyptian art movement had a big influence in the Art Deco
Yeah.
stuff. He said, have you heard of, now I can't remember it exactly, but it's something like Ferenz tiles or,
I have heard of them.
what was it Ferenz or something? F is something.
Yeah, it rings a bell.
It was a question on University Challenge, and he knew the answer to it, and I was like, where'd you get that from? And he said, my Art Deco book. Ask Barry if he's heard of it.
I have heard of it, but I'm trying to think.
You have to look it up.
I'll have to look it up.
Something
But
like
yes,
Ferenz
it
or
was Egyptian revivalism in the arts and crafts.
Art Deco, he said.
Yeah, it was also arts and crafts because if you think of the Spook School, they the McDonald sisters,
Yeah.
they did a lot of Egyptian revivalism back then. So that was early Art Nouveau.
Yeah,
Early Art Nouveau.
I think Roger's becoming something of an expert on the old Art Deco.
Mm.
Because he's got that many books on it now.
Did you collect it as well?
Well, we can't afford to.
Bit of
collect
Clarice.
it.
Bit of Clarice Cliff.
But we have got a reproduction, like a lovely Tiffany glass lamp, and he's also got a bronze reproduction lady figure. Yeah, but
Whose idea was it to emboss all this flipping fair? For goodness sake.
Somebody, yeah.
we went to New York a couple of years
Oh,
ago.
I need to do his
before
tail.
COVID, and he just fell in love with all the Art Deco stuff out there, the buildings and the architecture. And then when we came back, he just really got into buying lots of books about it and visiting the buildings in London that are Deco influenced, and I love it anyway. Barry's Art Deco class, marvellous. Is what's it coming on Friday?
Christine.
Christy?
I don't know. I've not heard from her for a while.
Oh, what?
She went on holiday, but then I don't know. I'm going to give her a message this week
Definitely.
because it's unlike her.
Well, say to her Liz and Sue were asking.
So I'm hoping she's okay.
Yeah, come in. What time is it on Friday?
10. You got to get up.
My day off.
You can come in on your slippers if it'll help.
I have to go to the farm shop first to get the salad over the weekend. Something else I was going to say. So anyway, yeah, I've paid for next year's.
Oh, well, there you go then.
I'm going to have to run them then, aren't I
Can I
now?
have beans on toast for tea tonight then?
Yes. I've taken to beans on toast while money's tight. Sometimes I'll have it with boiled eggs. Sometimes I'll have it with a bit of tuna.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes with a jacket potato.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's good for you. Occasionally, once a week, I'll cook a pasta bake. That does me 3 nights, so three meals. Then I fill the rest in with beans. They're my favourite thing. If I could only eat one meal for the rest of my life, I would choose beans on toast. I love them so much.
I love jacket potato, cheese and beans.
Oh yes, cheesy beans are nice.
Beans on it.
I have a fish finger sandwich with lots of salad cream.
What? That's for your only meal ever, every day.
I love it. I love fish finger sandwich. But it's got to be bird's eye fish fingers.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
nothing
a-
fancy. I can't stand these where the pubs do these fancy
Yes.
posh fish finger
Gourmet.
sandwiches. Goujon. You know, what the hell is a goujon?
Fish finger.
I want a bird's eye fish finger. I want salad cream, not mayonnaise.
I want white bread.
And white bread.
Kate's begging me for no more embossing. Well, the good news is, Kate, once you've done it, you haven't got to do it again.
No, it's true.
But it's annoying. I know it's annoying because, it's 3:10.
You knew it was
It'll be 4
annoying.
o'clock. And
Yeah,
you're still going to
exactly. You knew it was that annoying. You wouldn't have done a living squirrel egg.
You did warn us last week.
I thank you, Sue. I did.
Would
I
be
did.
embossing.
I did.
There's not even any bushes or foliage or anything.
No.
It's just constant thinking and bossing.
Yep. I'm evil.
The evil.
I thought I'd be evil for Halloween.
My squirrel was a bit evil, actually.
Are we doing Halloween next week?
I don't think I'm doing anything Halloweeny, am I? An old ruined archway in the woods, so that could be a bit spooky. You
Oh,
could
that
put a
would
bit of a
be-
ghost
with a
in
bat.
there,
With
or
a
a
bat.
bat.
We could have some
And a pumpkin up
cobwebs.
front.
Yeah.
Tucked in.
Yeah, we'll find room for a pumpkin.
Yeah, and some cobwebs.
Well, I thought, that's why I'm keeping the spiders in the house, because I thought I'm not going to get rid of them, ready to buy some fake ones to put up. I might as well just use the real ones that I've got.
You've got all those flies. that
Yeah.
spiders are doing.
I really don't enjoy those flies, and they're everywhere.
I don't even think that they are fruit flies.
No, they're smaller. They're not got the brown body like fruit flies, but they're slightly bigger than storm bugs,
Yeah.
but they're not fruit flies. I've had
some at work and somebody said
Yeah.
they were fruit flies. That's why I said.
tiny little
They're
black
white
body.
ones, aren't they?
Yeah, they're smaller than a fruit fly, little black body.
Yeah.
No, I didn't think they were fruit, but somebody said they were.
Yeah, they're very persistent as well because they just keep flying in.
And you try to catch them, and then they're so light, the waft of your hand trying to close shoots them up in the air, and then you can't catch them.
And just when you think you've cleared the room.
Yes. But apparently fruit flies can mate and birth and whatever within 24 hours. So, you're never fully rid of them.
Gosh, that's very energetic, isn't
It is. Well, I suppose they have to do it just in case they get swatted.
I wonder what those little black ones
Live, laugh, love.
Where have they all coming from?
Yeah, where are they? If there's a plague of them, maybe it's since they've harvested. Do you think there could be little
Yes, there probably is.
little corn flies or wheat flies or
We used to
something?
get little black flies when they were harvesting maize.
Ah, so I think maybe that's the answer. Maybe it's Dee's done with embossing. Have you thrown your tool across the room, Dee, in a fit of anti-embossing?
Just embossed his eyeball by accident
That's cruelty to squirrels. So,
with a hairy eyeball.
or very long eyelashes, like Snuffleupagus on Sesame Street.
I just can't
Oh, I
see.
need a break.
Well, we're going to be doing some actual work now.
Is your customer gone?
Drawing.
No, she's still browsing. She's browsing the brushes. Try saying that fast.
Browsing the bush. Oh, why do you have to be so hairy, Mr. Squirrel?
Well, you could do a shaved squirrel, but I bet you it wouldn't really look like a squirrel.
No, it definitely looked like a rat then.
So, while you're still embossing, or while you're getting angry with your embossing, if you think of the squirrel in terms of grayscale, because we're working in pencil, the orangey tones, are they darker or lighter than the grey?
Darker, I think.
I think I would agree. Because
Yeah,
he's got...
there's highlights on the grey bits.
Yes,
isn't there, I
because he's
think?
got a white chest and the part of his thigh, if you like, his hind leg is white. Then there's the paler grey, which is shinier in some respects, and then there's the gingery colour, the ochre, a sort of burnt ochre colour.
I just realised I haven't embossed his knee.
You know, embossed his what?
Knee.
Dolphins have no embossing on them.
Oh,
Um,
what a good idea. Who said that?
Heather.
Heather, let's have a dolphin.
Well, we've got a ruined archway, then we've got an autumn wood, then we've got a portrait of a child, toadstools, Wardington Church, a frosty lake, and a pillar box in the snow. Now, sometimes snowy scenes do mean a bit of embossing.
We did telephone
Yeah,
box.
telephone
in the
box,
snow
yes,
last
we
year,
did.
didn't we? That was good. I like that.
I like that.
Didn't we use
Bit
a
of
red
red
a
as
red
well.
pencil? Yes, I've got that ready to upload onto Artstream.
Oh, now that's reminded me what else I want. Barry, did you say you've got cards that you can paint
Watercolour
on the
cards, yes,
outside?
pack of 10.
Pack of 10.
We do A6 and A5.
I'll have a pack of 8. What's A6?
A6 is postcard size when it's folded. A5 is half of A4. So
Oh, I'll have
the
A6.
A5 ones are like that.
Too big. Yeah,
The A6 ones are like that.
yeah, that's what I want.
You do your own Christmas
I
cards?
might
then?
do
No?
too.
Paul does. Enthusiastic Paul does his own Christmas cards every year.
Haven't seen him for ages,
He's
have he?
he's all right. He does the Thursday afternoon class.
Where's Doris?
You know, she came in. She's been really poorly with a chest infection for the last 3 weeks. And she came in on Saturday. She still didn't seem right to me. And she said she'd hopefully be well enough for Wednesday. I said, well, just text me in the morning and I'll tell you if there's space or not. And she hadn't texted, so I'm presuming she wasn't very well. I'm going to 7B his eye. Once I can find my 7B.
7B's on.
That's the 3B.
That's a 7B.
Oh, there's 7B.
I need a pencil.
But I want to, I'm going to do an outline. Right, she's in the calligraphy section now. This camera spot is the perfect spot because I can see everything. Nobody can hide from me, including my staff. This is going to make your squirrel feel really cute.
Is it?
Yeah. I did take a photograph of a squirrel last night that I fed a nut to, but I still preferred to use this image. I've had quite a few new customers as well lately. Don't know where the old ones have gone, but I've had quite a few new ones, which is nice. That have, oh, you're new. I didn't know you were here. Oh no, we've just celebrated our 11th birthday.
We've had a few people come into the museum just recently and said, "Is this the museum that used to be up by the cross?"
Oh, what?
I'm like, how many years ago?
Maybe they've been in isolation for longer than 18 months. They've been in for 20 years.
Van Winkle.
Because Castle Key's 21, isn't it, this month?
Yeah. Honestly.
Do you think that we'll get any extra money soon at the museum from all this stuff that Rishi
Oh, I
is
don't know.
announcing? All the extra library and museum.
I don't know because Simon's just had a schmoozing session.
Has he? He's very good at getting money out of
He
people.
is, and yeah.
That's because he looks like Doctor Who.
Because now he's fun.
Peter,
Davis.
no, Peter Capaldi. He looks just like Peter Capaldi.
Anyway, he's so he's trying to get the money for the bridge now, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe we will, because we had some people come in from Congleton the other day.
Congleton, Cheshire.
Yeah, and they were saying that their museum, they have tried to get funding,
Yeah.
and they're finding it really, really hard. And they asked how we managed to get ours, because I said we'd had the shop done up and everything, and they said, "How did you do that? We can't get any money at all."
I'm shading his easier with 7B. I'm going to do quite a bit with 7B.
Because he was saying, wasn't he, that all that money for the shop and everything was from grants.
Yeah.
You see, what I get frustrated at, because I'm a business, even though I'm kind of not for profit because we don't make profit and we do a lot for the community and for the arts, because I'm a business, we can't get any help. If I was a charity, we would.
A charity, Barry.
But then I feel bad about being a charity because I'm not charitable in that sort of... Do you know what I mean? I'm not benefiting, we're not feeding starving children, and we're not doing that.
Community, though.
Well, yeah, I know, because the Art Society was a charity. I don't feel... It doesn't sit right with me to be a shop
Yeah.
and a charity. Even though I am a charity in that I will take donations. Of
Any
food.
donations for
Food.
people you see?
Doesn't matter.
Any other thing? Box of broken biscuits.
Box of... Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how Simon does it, but he does it.
He does a
well.
good job.
He does do a good job, yeah.
So you may not have spotted this, and it may mean absolutely nothing to most of you, but I want to digitise a lot of my calligraphy crib sheets, and I posted this on my art page this morning. So I use Procreate, which has built-in brushes, and you can buy brush sets, but it's like $130 for a commercial usage, and I ain't got that kind of money. And it's got some calligraphic tools and brushes, but they're all for brush pen and thick, thin, swirly things. And I want one for italics that does the sharp 45-degree thin line, fat downward stroke. And last night I was just before my class, I was playing around thinking there's got to be a way. People who make these have got to know how to do it. So I went on the calligraphy thing, and there was a little plus for the brushes, so I just clicked it, and then this whole thing came up, and then I just started moving sliders, and then there was a circle with dots on, and I squished it and twisted it, and I did a few things, and I tested it, and I was starting to get oblique lines and angles, and then I twiggled it a bit more, and I've now got my own calligraphic italic nib for the iPad. I don't know how I could do it, and I don't know if I could do it again.
Tell anybody else how you did it.
But yeah, this is still 7B, Kate. I haven't changed.
What are you doing the ear?
I've done the ear and around his nose a little, because I'm doing the slightly darker.
You haven't put embossing in his ear, have you?
No,
Okay, just checking.
no.
I have.
Yeah.
So
Well, I've done it on his eyeballs, but thankfully not all over.
I've got very long eyelashes, so it means I can actually digitise, because I want to put all of my calligraphy crib sheets into a self-published book, you know, to just try and earn some money. People can't say I don't try.
You do try.
you're very trying, very well.
It's like Florence Foster Jenkins, where she said, people can say I can't sing, but nobody can say I didn't sing. And speaking of which, I'm at the RAF club on Armistice Day. Weirdly, they want me to sing Rat Pack songs. I thought I'd be doing like more
Wartime.
wartime, but no, they want a good old sing-along Rat Pack.
Yeah, I think everyone some fun, don't they?
Yeah,
Oh.
but it's a small room, so I'll have to see what their COVID measures are and how I can comply. Which I hope they've got some.
It's difficult to tell now, isn't it? Some people just don't seem to have anything at all.
Well, they were saying in the Daily Mail, which I don't read, but my mum does, the numbers are going down again.
Well,
I think they're going to fluctuate, aren't they?
Today they've gone up again, haven't they?
well, I don't know about whether they've gone up.
I can't keep
They
track.
are just terrifying.
Yeah. Because I thought that they were saying that they were going up, and then suddenly they're going down again.
They've certainly gone down for. I live in West Northants.
Yeah,
That as an area, that's gone down
yeah,
by about 125 or something.
yeah.
But they're still pretty high.
Oh, they're ridiculous.
I think we've got more cases than France, Germany, Spain and Italy combined.
Oh, good.
We are.
So we are world beating. but just not in the way we were supposed to be.
Nice to think we did at
We
something.
have 10 times the number of new cases per day to France,
Oh,
and 15 times the number of new cases to one of the Scandinavian countries. You know, all loaded appropriately.
well, how come?
I think it's because a lot of them have. We're behind on young vaccinations, which is where a lot of France is way
That's
ahead
why
of it.
the numbers getting higher, isn't it?
and
With the-
and also a lot of the other places have never stopped mask wearing and social distancing.
Yeah,
I think we just dropped everything.
we did.
Personally, I think too soon, which is why Jackie and I will still insist on wearing them in the shop floor or in close contact.
Yeah. Well,
There are 92,954 daily new cases this week. 92,000.
Well, it was only last week that Rishi was saying, not Rishi, who's the Sajid. I want to call him Sajid Javid, but not Sajid. Sounds savage. He was only like 40 odd thousand when he said, and it said it could reach 100,000. But we'll do nothing. We'll just keep an eye. And I think keeping an eye is what got us here in the first place. Nice swift action would be good. Right, so I'm just shading. We don't want to. We won't go political or medical. We'll try not to. This is not what these classes are about.
well, we have to keep thinking every time. Oh, thank goodness, at least we're here and we're out and about, aren't we?
Yeah. Sadly.
If to wear a mask is not too much to ask, because it's not that much of an inconvenience.
Well, I don't think so. I think if it means I can carry on. Mine's looking like a Disney squirrel now. It's going to go off and get Twitter-pated.
Oh, Twitter made a recent.
But when you think of the shortages we've got in employment, if we're losing nearly 1,000 people a week,
Yeah.
well, most of them have got to have been in work at some point.
There's no excuse for someone to be unemployed, is there, these days?
No.
No excuse. You've got jobs coming out of your blinking
Well,
ears.
apparently they're crying out for bus drivers now, because a lot of bus drivers have gone to the agency.
Oh, they're also crying out for grit drivers,
Oh,
grit
are they
lorry,
grit
yes,
lorries?
because the council are now worried that we won't have the roads gritted because we haven't got enough drivers to drive the grit lorries. But we've got enough grit. We've just got no means
Hell
of.
in a handcart.
It's really fun. It's what a time to be alive, because. You know, but if you study history, you always think, well, I wonder what it was like.
To live through
Well,
that.
now we know.
Now we know.
We're going through a plague and
Yeah.
all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realise in 1666, the plague, they had stones at the corners of the street with vinegar in for people to wash their hands and money in,
Yes.
to sanitise.
Oh, did they?
So they had sanitised stations in 16, and pubs had little holes in the wall where they'd pass the beer through the wall, so you didn't go into the pub.
I knew that
Oh.
because that's what
Amazing.
we've been having. Some pubs have been doing that, haven't they? In proper lockdown, they've
Yeah.
been doing that. And they were saying that's nothing new. It's something that people used to do lots and lots of years ago.
There's nothing new in the world, is there?
There isn't anything new. It's the same as art, and it does annoy me when arty folk are always on the lookout, especially like Sky Artist of the Year and Portrait Artist of the Year, which I do love the programme, but they're always wanting something new that they haven't seen before, and we're getting to a point where that's not going to be possible.
That living portrait artist of the year, I've had to give up with it because just shouting at the screen because they just pick the worst one every week. And I just don't
I find it interesting to watch in that some artists can get the similarity and the likeness within 20 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then others, it takes them 4 hours.
yeah.
And then
It still
others,
feels like 'em.
it looks nothing like them. But it goes to show about pressure. You can be a really good portrait artist, and if you're used to tracing your image, and if you're used to taking 27 hours, it's very different. I feel, and I know it's kind of down to the artist, but I wish the submission pieces were only submitted if they'd only taken 4 hours to do them.
Yeah, because they can submit something that's taken them months. can't
Yeah,
they?
well, some have taken 2 or 3 years, and I think that's fine.
Doesn't show their talent, though, does it?
And they're being picked on the basis of that, and then in the actual heat of the moment, they're going, well, it's nothing like their submission piece. Well, of course not.
Of course it's not.
Did you expect it to be? You know, just
It's
Does anybody watch the Bake Off? Do you watch Bake Off?
no.
no.
Do you know what? It's a bit like you was just saying everything has to change. I mean, I love the Bake Off, but the thing that they did last night was so difficult that I don't know how they didn't all just pass out with the anguish of it.
I used to, when I did watch it, I found it look quite. I haven't got a clue, you see, about that kind of stuff.
They
I
were
can.
making phyllo pastry, which is really difficult.
Yeah,
But then
yeah.
they had to make a baklava, you know, which,
Yeah.
which is really, really difficult. And then the showstopper thing was this pork pie terrine type thing, which they had to put other things inside the pork pie, so that when you cut it, you could see a shape or something through it. And I
Gosh.
just thought, oh, do you know what? All you want is a few jam tarts, for God's sake. It's so complicated.
I think that's the same with all these reality shows, isn't it? They've had to up the ante every time.
Yes.
Well, it's like some of them use like the talent shows. If you can do it dangerous,
Yeah.
it's got to be dangerous or
Yeah.
death-defying,
Yeah.
because we're so used to things now. We're bored, aren't we?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
used to be
and
different.
like, you know, with Strictly, they've got to keep upping the lifts and the
Yeah.
difficulty and all that kind of stuff
Well,
all the time.
I'm late to the party, Sue, but in the last 3 weeks, I have finally found Strictly.
Oh, have you?
I've never watched it. In
I've
16
watched it.
years.
I've watched a bit of it this year, not all of it, but
I used to watch it, and when I was married, I used to watch it. Now I can't be bothered.
No, well, I've always thought, oh, I can't be bothered. I'm not interested in that. But I have to say that some of them are really good this year.
they are.
This is still 7B.
The two blokes,
Yeah.
they're incredible.
See, what I might use is my smudgy stick.
Are we still using a 7B?
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm just scribbling over me squirrel.
Just scribbling over my
Are you going to fill in the other bits, or is he just
Yeah,
gonna be-
I'm gonna fill it in with my smudgy stick.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I need to sort his nose out.
So I'm doing the areas of contrast first.
I got you.
I need to sort his nose out.
Oh, is it running?
Doing something. Looks like he's got a boil on the end of his nose.
Oh, he needs Dr. Pimple Popper. I'm obsessed with her. It's amazing. I love watching that. Dr. Pimple Popper.
What's that?
She's an American doctor, and people go to her with boils and cysts and things,
Barry.
and you can watch her
Oh, how come
operating.
you don't watch that?
Yeah. Did you say how common?
Yes.
Yeah, council house kid and proud me. I love pimples. Not my own.
You're like a nice pimple.
Give me a.
Oh, that's made me feel.
I traumatise my poor daughter because if I get run down, I get boils. Not a nice thing to have. And I had one on my back, and the doctor said that we've got to squeeze it, and I had to get my daughter to do it, and she was traumatised.
Yeah, give me a nice diluted pour of winer any day and watch an extraction.
Poor woman, poor little girl.
Or botfly larva removals on animals.
Oh.
I won't.
With you.
Well, do you know what? It makes me feel better about my own life, Liz. That's why I watch these things. Because at least I haven't got a botfly up my nose.
Out.
That's why I used to like watching Jeremy Kyle.
Oh yes.
Because I did used to feel a lot better about myself. At least I've still got more teeth. I've got more teeth than them.
to go for the people on chat.
On Jeremy Kyle.
Oh dear.
Right, I'm using the pencil on its edge.
Can't get that.
This will be on Art Stream, and I'm talking about Boyles and Jeremy
Yes,
Kyle.
That's the thing, isn't it, when you're chatting away?
Oops.
Oh, I've lent on my mouse. Hang
Where
on.
have you gone?
Forget
It's not
I
a
was-
mouse, it's a squirrel.
I'm going to move the mouse over there.
Is this his tail? You're
Yeah,
thinking?
I just thought it'd be quite nice just to make it feel squirrelish,
Squirrely.
squirrel-like.
Put it on his side. On his side.
Yeah, on its side, and
Is
just
this the 7B still?
yeah, still all 7B. You see, I had a student say to me that they watched back a few of the lessons that they paid for from the beginning, and they said it's like a Peep's diary of
yes.
COVID, because we're discussing without being horrible and scary about it. We're just generally discussing what's going on.
Yes,
and,
it's a time.
Yeah.
Because I did that one from back in February.
Oh, the hair.
The
Yes.
hair, and it was really. Did you hear about that, Sue?
No.
I did the hair. I bought the hair off Barry's new thing where you can buy the old ones. I thought, oh, I like that. That's lovely. So I started doing it, started drawing it, and then he's going. Something about, all right, Mrs. Riley, and I thought, oh, I'm in the class. I went online. I must have.
Did you
I've
actually
already
do it?
done it?
Oh.
I didn't remember.
Was that the one-eyed hair?
Yeah, the one-eyed
One-eyed
hair.
hair that I had all the trouble with because I had trouble with the eye you couldn't see.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, it's
But
right.
I didn't remember it. Honestly,
So you paid to do it again?
I did.
And I appreciate that.
This is the thing. I just do it to pay your wages.
Well, it's quite nice once I start teaching people that are slightly older. I can teach the same lesson as many times as I want because you can't remember what I've taught you. So next week, Sue, we're going to be doing a squirrel up close.
It's true.
I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying watching you suffer.
What happened? Excuse me. In the meanwhile, what's happened to that customer? She just nicked all your stuff.
No, she ran away. She didn't fill her pockets. I don't think we had what she wanted to fill her pockets with. It's not very commercial art supplies. You can't really.
Well, no, you're not gonna make
There's
a
not
lot
a
of
black
selling
market.
on, are
No,
you?
I mean if I can't, then you know what they're going to do. And if they can, I want to know what they're doing.
Where are you selling it?
How are you getting such good good prices and sales? Black market art supplies, can you imagine?
You want to buy some pencils?
Yeah, and I open my big jacket and I've got a roll of a brush roll full of pencils in the one. I'll sort you out with a nice pencil. Got a new line of 2Bs in. I don't know why I go Cockney when I want to sell people. That's weird, isn't it? That's rather stereotypical, isn't it?
Exactly,
Gosh, I do
stereotype.
apologise to
Especially
anybody.
if we're all
Londoners.
Especially as my dad was a Cockney, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, that's-
Robert's
that's-
not a Cockney,
it's
are you,
so
Robert?
No, but I lived in East London for quite a long time.
Did you? You'd not got a Cockney accent in that time.
No, but I did when I lived there.
Yeah.
Not off, did I?
you have that one, isn't it?
So I'm doing a few little flicks even on the other areas because when you smudge you never fully get rid. And Rosemary, you've not told me off. I haven't got my piece of paper to lean on and my hands are filthy. I was doing that last night. We were doing, weren't we, Heather? We did a lovely boat. It was a really interesting lesson because it was just a clear sunset lake with still water, with a sky and just a boat on it. And we were doing it in pencil. And we did the boat first. And it just looked really weird until we put the clouds in. I've got it on here. I'll show you. It's underneath my squirrel.
It was like that one we painted the other week, where we had all the lines. on.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was still water, so we didn't do lines. But it was, and Heather did a wonderful job.
How many were there last night then?
3 online last night because I don't do them in
Positive crowd.
in real life. It was a difficult boat because it was facing away from
What
us.
sort of boat was it, sailboat?
Just a little fishing boat. I'll quickly whip it out and I'll show you the boat as well.
Now you're like Paul Hollywood on the Bake Off. That's what
That was it.
Oh, yeah, that's lovely.
So we had to look at the boat but if you imagine without the grey clouds and water,
Yeah.
it did nothing. And Heather said it wasn't until the clouds went on that it actually looked. But we had to do the boat. I talked about figure of 8 boats at the beginning, but obviously this doesn't work because it's not on its side. It's
Yeah.
so we looked at it as a triangle and curves. But it was a good
That's
lesson.
good, I like that.
I love that storm sky one we did last week. We painted on Friday, whatever it was. It
What
was,
was
a stormy
that?
sky.
Was I there?
We
Oh, Caswell Bay,
we
yes.
do it the other way round, Barry. We can't remember what you taught. You can't remember what you taught. We just get stuck in a loop.
Yeah.
Squirrel again this week,
Yeah.
Barry. I love squirrel.
It's a bit like that with colours of paint, isn't it, in the class? Was that ultramarine and what?
Everybody,
What
everyone
pencil are you using now?
Yeah, what pencil? What pencil's that? Still the 7B. Are you on a different pen? No. Is this the squirrel? Yeah.
That's what I've been too busy concentrating.
So I'm just doing a few little flicks. Well, you see, the Tuesday evening one, because that finishes the end of this year, is interesting because next week we do the same reference, but we do it in acrylics.
Well, I would get confused.
So it's interesting because by doing a full-blown drawing in 1 week, if you do the two, you don't have to do both, but you understand the shading and tone
Yeah,
already for when you do it in the paint version,
yeah.
because you're not having to think about lights and
Oh,
darks.
that's what I've got to sign up for as well, haven't I? That oil painting.
You've
Oh, there's that. Yeah, did you spot I'd done one for you?
Yes, I did. And I've got to A, make sure I book the day off work, and B, pay for it sometime.
Because we've cancelled all of our Saturday classes for the rest of this year because we're just not getting enough interest. Yeah, I think it's that people don't want to sit for 6 hours in one room, so we've shortened them next year.
Yeah.
We've shortened the length of them, and that's fine because I haven't got Sandra anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a long time to be out of the shop.
so it's a long time.
Saturday,
Yeah, I mean, when we have done them, the students don't mind because it gives them time to catch up and what have you.
Do you find the with the doing the drawing and then doing it's acrylic, isn't
Yeah.
it? Do you find the painting's a bit better?
Yeah, and quicker because people have already got. Sometimes some people will just do the acrylic session, and sometimes some people do the drawing. But those that do the 2 weeks, they've kind of got it already formulated. Yeah, because we don't paint over what we've drawn; we do it as a separate one.
Different bit.
But you're already thinking of the tones. You know your lights, your darks. You know the shapes that you're looking for. So yeah, a little baby downstairs. Well, she's not a baby anymore.
Barry, there's a little bit more shading in the body. Is that still 7B?
Yes, still 7B.
Just check it.
What is it?
Still the squirrel.
It's less than 7B.
Yeah, I've got the pencil on its edge, and I'm just sort of dancing with it a little bit because when I come over with my smudgy stick, it should all help blend and smudge.
Should all come together.
Maybe I'll call him Smudge the Squirrel. That's a nice name.
Mine looks like a chimp.
It's funny. I didn't realise just how many animals I teach in all of my classes. Not actually. No, I don't mean
I
students.
was going to say thanks. Barry.
I mean subjects. Because when I started putting them on ArtStream, and then I scrolled through, it's like, oh, there's an owl, oh, there's a giraffe, oh, there's an elephant, there's a cat, there's a squirrel. We do more than you think.
I've got about 59 portraits of Winston Churchill.
But this one doesn't look like Churchill.
No, it doesn't. It was a chipmunk.
They're the same animal, really.
Oh, yeah, you didn't deny it then, did you?
It's just because he hasn't got the colours in, because they've got different markings, haven't they?
But he's got a chipmunk's nose, because I put like a line that's too dark on his nose. So it looks
Well, the squirrel noses are really interesting because they're just, it's almost, it's the same skin, isn't it? It hasn't got a different nose.
No,
It's just like an extra flap.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's any need to do like 9B in this week. How are you getting on online? I ought to talk to you, really.
Have they all had good internet connection today?
Well, it looks like, I think... Did I tell you did I finish telling you the saga? Because I think we've sorted it.
Yeah, I think.
I had to ring up again last week, and then I got a different person, and he told me different things again. And if you remember, in week 1 of the saga, they laughed and couldn't believe I'd got a broadband extension, and they told me that no broadband engineer would put it in. And I said, look, I can paint pictures, I can't install things like this. I said it was definitely a broadband engineer, because
You wouldn't have done it yourself.
I wouldn't have done it myself. And it transpires the way it was attached into the box that it could have been causing a lot of relay issues, causing either phone and or broadband swap overs. So I just yanked it out. I said, what happens if I pull it off? He said, well, give it a go. Yeah, he said it won't affect what you've already got, because you're not going to be using that. So I just yanked it out, and since then, so far,
Worked a treat.
yeah, a good old bodge job. Sometimes they're underrated.
It does make you laugh when they say things like that. Like, who did this? You know.
Yeah, and it's you get that.
Somebody was telling me about up at Hill End or whatever it's called, community centre. They came in to do all the electrics and said, "Oh, who on earth did this?" And they said, "Well, you did when you built it."
Yeah. There's that Jethro sketch where he's a builder, and then the foreman goes, "This is an awful wall. I think I'm going to fire." He said, "It's the worst wall I've ever seen. You're fired." And Jethro goes, "Oh, I can show you worse walls than that." He said, "You don't know who you're hiring." He went, "What, a worse wall than this?" He said, "I'll tell you what, find me a worse wall and you've got your job back." So he walks over to the other side of the site and he says, "Look at this wall." He said, "That's even worse. It's falling down already and it's only just been built." He went, "Goodness me." He said, "That is worse. I've never seen a wall this bad." He said, "I'm true to my word. You've got your job back. Now tell me, who built the wall?" He went, "I did."
Jethro.
What it was it? I was walking down my friend with my friend Denzel, and they were there.
Oh dear. When we lived in Torquay, he was always on at the theatre.
He's still going.
Is he?
Yeah. Same as Neil Sedaka is still singing, and his voice hasn't changed at all.
He must be getting on a bit now, mustn't he?
This is the trouble. Everybody is, isn't it? When
He's
you
getting on a bit now.
when you think about it, all the great. It's like Angela Lansbury was 96, and she's now one of the last surviving of the original Hollywood Golden Era actresses. She was stunning in her.
I told you I saw her. We saw her in Blind Spirit.
Oh.
I spent about.
She
8
got
years
she
ago.
got an award for that, didn't she? I think Blind Spirit.
She was incredible. So she would have been then about 88, and she was, you know, absolutely amazing. And she kicked her leg up at one point because she was Madame Arcati, and she came on. And of course, she didn't have need to sing or dance in it.
No.
She kicked her leg right up high, and it was just, she was amazing. Such a good actress.
Because I mean, when you think Judi Dench, she's in her 80s, isn't she? And Maggie Smith.
Did you see Dame Judy on about Who Do You Think You Are?
No.
No, what was her family?
Well, I haven't watched it yet, but oh no, that's not true. I have watched it. It's this week.
Worth watching though, is it? It's got very well reviewed.
Did you see Josh Whittaker?
I
the
saw
week
Josh
before?
Whittaker. Yeah, that was funny,
That
wasn't
was
it?
amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
But Dame Judy, they kind of traced her back to being potentially one of her relatives was a lady in waiting at the court of in Elsinore, you know, that's in Hamlet.
Yeah.
In Denmark. So her great.
And she plays in Hamlet, doesn't she?
Yeah, she was. Her first part was Ophelia, and so yeah, one of her great ancestors was a lady in waiting at the castle,
Wow.
and she just couldn't believe it. And they found records to show that Will Kemp, who was an actor in Shakespeare's
Yeah, I've heard of him.
theatre, came over to Elsinore and performed
Wow.
at the castle at the time that her great would have been there, so she would have seen productions that Will Kemp could have gone back and told Shakespeare about, and it was she was really teary about it,
Yeah,
just
I can
thinking
imagine.
that you've got this connection to Shakespeare.
That's amazing.
How come all these famous people have got such wonderful relatives? Do they if they can't find anyone, do they just scrap it?
They do, yeah, they do scrap
They
it.
must.
Yeah.
If it's boring.
I can't remember who it was, but there's a comedian that was telling us when we saw his show that he'd been asked to do it, but then they didn't
They couldn't
follow
find
it
anything
through.
interesting.
No, it wasn't interesting enough.
Okay. That's why they all sound interesting.
I suppose it's all about the telly, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I am smudging everywhere. Just go for it, Kate. Smudge, smudge, smudge with your smudger. Rub, rub, rub with your rubber. I don't think your heartstrings are zinging, are they, at the moment?
No.
You're not feeling the love for little Smudge the squirrel. But he loves you. He's offering you his best nut.
I don't think so.
It looks like a mouse or a chipmunk or something.
Well, mine looks like a squirrel.
Oh, alright, I'm so modest, Barry.
Mine looks like about 3 squirrels that have been bolted together.
Cut and
A
shut.
Franken squirrel. That's good for Halloween.
That's a horrible picture.
Hmm.
Poor
But
squirrel.
that's the one.
Oh. Oh, he's got whiskers as well that we need to put on. Maybe that's what will 9 be.
That'll make the
That'll
difference.
make
You know,
The
all
whisk-
the
you'll be blown away.
Oh, there we go.
If you've got socks on, prepared for them to be knocked right
I
off.
haven't got any socks on, have you?
Oh no, maybe it'll be your shoes.
Shame.
Just gonna darken. Same. I'm still with a 7B before anybody asks. Doing his little eye bag.
And you can wear socks with like this one. London's Rishi, what's his name?
Sunak.
Sunak has been photographed wearing sliders and socks,
Oh no! Ooh.
which are very popular in Hollywood
Oh, in Hollywood.
and Essex.
Oh. Oh, they're similar, aren't they, Hollywood and Essex?
I was going to say Essex has never been known for its fashion.
Oh,
Well, I mean for
It was
good
the-
taste fashion, put it like
it
that.
was the place for black trousers and white socks.
Yeah, black shoes and
In the-
no, black
in the-
tights and white shoes.
And white
And
stilettos.
white stilettos.
I had some of those.
Don't admit that, Sue.
Yeah.
I've seen people around Banbury in sliders and socks.
What's it? I don't know what sliders are. What are
They're,
sliders?
what's-
Would I call them a pump?
They're like a sandal
No,
with a band.
they've just got bands over the top.
Oh, okay. I just call it a sandal.
And they're called sliders because you slide out.
You slide down.
Oh.
They haven't got a back to them,
They're
have
very
they?
dangerous.
Oh, like a flip flop.
Flip
Yeah, but with a flap over, but in.
They're like the flip flop without the toe.
Yeah, without the thong.
Yeah, just no, it's just stupid.
Hmm.
You're
Well,
not walking them properly.
You wouldn't want any of those, so don't go looking for them.
I have got sandals that do that. But I don't wear sandals because that means I have to wear shorts and I don't get my legs
Well,
out.
people are still wearing them now, and they're
Well,
just wearing them
They're just showing
with
off.
socks, and they just look
Ridiculous.
stupid.
Some of the fashions are stupid. We were saying just now about the number of girls wearing these skirts with slits in the side of them. But they're not even made nicely. It just looks like a piece of material.
Well, it's because they get them off Shein, which is like a really cheap fashion
They look cheap.
brand.
Just look like they've been ripped instead of.
Cheap fashion.
If I can find this.
In my day,
It's-
if you
it's
had
the
a
same
skirt
as-
with a slit up, it would be nicely,
Pencil skirt.
nicely fashioned and whatever. But now they just look ridiculous.
It's the same as the excessive use of contouring. You know, the colour of the face in half brown, and then they use this iridescent white on the nose, and it looks like they're falling in a bag of flour for some of them.
Yeah. Or they
Um,
have really big,
yeah.
marks along their cheeks, don't they?
That's
to make
right.
them look chiseled.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really
So
dark.
you have to contour your cheekbones, and you contour your hairline brown,
Yeah.
and under your chin to sculpt your face. And this is just to like nip to the shops makeup. Now,
then
for
you
me,
have
I would think that would be like evening makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you
or-
have your big eyebrows.
yeah, they look like slugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you see, eyebrows are back in because for a while eyebrows weren't in, were they? You had to make them as thin as possible.
But there's an
Yeah, but-
eyebrow, and you see, I plucked all my eyebrows out in 1974. And they
Yeah, my mum had none. They when she was in the typing pool in the 60s, it was thin eyebrows or sculpted eyebrows, but they used to use typing fluid to burn the hairs off, and they slipped with my mum, and she had one eyebrow without any eyebrows. So she always drew them on, and she absolutely loved it when she started wearing glasses because she just put the pencil on the top of the glasses and just went over the top of them.
Well, you see, I've hardly got any eyebrows, but when I'm acting, when I'm on stage, they will insist on putting the eyebrows in.
So it can
and
be
I can't
seen.
bear it. And Jenny, our lady who does makeup, she'll go, "Oh, Liz, I don't know why you don't do this all the time. It takes years off you. Look so," and I'm like, "No, it looks ridiculous. For me, not for other people, but for
I
me,
didn't-
'cause I'm not used to having any eyebrows."
I wouldn't have thought the loss of eyebrow was aging.
What?
I don't think.
No, I look younger apparently.
Yeah, with eyebrow. Yeah, but that's what I mean. I wouldn't have thought it would have aged you or changed you.
Those
with-
big eyebrows, though, that's the first thing you notice with people, isn't it? And I
Oh,
find
what big
myself-
eyebrows you've got!
I find myself drawn to the eyebrows.
What big contours you have!
In 20 years, Barry, you'll discover that you have eyebrows like
Dennis
Lawson.
Healy.
Oh, and Dennis Healy. My dad, when he had his used to have his hair cut, he used to in his 50s. This was he used to end up having to have his eyebrows trimmed.
Well, they do in the Turkish barbers. They'll do your eyebrows. They also do the hairs at your ears and your nose as well.
Oh.
I just think I might grow my. If I lose any more hair, I'll grow my ear hair and have a comb over from my ear hair.
Today, I've picked the most revolting subject. Squeezing boys and combing over your ear.
It's because I don't know why
You don't get out enough.
I
that's
don't
your
get out enough, or at all.
As soon as you get a bit of company, you overshare.
I know how to woo people. Hello, darling. Shall we squeeze a boil?
Let's have an evening in squeezing each other's boils, shall we?
Ne-
Sometimes you wonder why your wife left.
How about-
Well, let me tell you.
Hey, babe. Netflix and boil. I think she got married this weekend.
What, your ex-wife?
Yeah,
Did she?
I think so.
You're not invited.
No. Well, I was at the last one. I don't need to go to another one of hers, do I?
Well, that's true. No, actually,
I didn't. To be honest, I'm glad because the last one cost me a fortune.
Well, Roger didn't get invited to his ex-wives.
No, I'm very happy that she's happy.
Good.
And she was very nice and told me that she'd got engaged, which she didn't have to do.
How long have you been divorced?
Oh gosh, ages. I think
She didn't rush
6
into it.
6 years.
Yeah, she didn't rush into it.
No. Well, she made that mistake with me. See,
Yeah.
not doing that again.
Oh.
Well, she's younger than me, you see. So I was very green when it came to relationships, and she was younger than me, and we just didn't know each other well enough.
Well, these things are said to try us.
Yeah. I
Well, it
don't-
makes you what you are, you see. That's what Roger
What,
always
broke?
tells me. Well, broke. Yeah.
I paid off a student loan, and
It made me a mental wreck.
Are you married?
Getting married, yeah.
Well, the trouble is, you have to go through these things. Don't
you do. And we've never. When she left, I really encouraged my family not to take sides. I said, look, it's not about sides. We had too much stress. I'm 7B again. I'm just adding a few darker. We had so much stress in a very short period of time, and we just didn't know each other well enough.
To get through it.
Yeah. You know, with the business almost collapsing around us, and her mother suddenly passing away without any warning. I mean, just those two things alone.
Yeah.
And we moved from all of our family, you know, miles away, at least 60 miles away from our nearest friend or relative to come down here. So we'd got the upheaval of that and the business collapsing, and yeah, it was really hard. So I've never ever held it against her for walking away because she was unhappy. And in fact, I'm very proud of her for doing that, because You know, she could have stuck married to me for a lot longer and been really miserable.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. Not being married to me, obviously. I mean being miserable.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Right. Sometimes you just have to make these decisions.
You do.
I think
I would have preferred not to have been told where I was told.
Oh, where were you told?
I was told at a tip,
Oh, right.
at Alkerton Tip.
Oh, a tip.
I was dumped at a dump.
Dumped at a dump.
Oh, what a funny place. Where did she send me?
We got to be dumped somewhere, haven't you? Well, no, it's because because we were emptying Church Lane shop, and we were at the tip, and I jokingly said, "God, you'd be much better off without me, wouldn't you?"
And she said,
And she
yes.
started crying, and she said, "Yeah, yes, I would."
Oh, bless her heart.
So it's over. And from that afternoon on, so we had to do the whole tip, and then when we got back, it was. Well, no, it wasn't that far. I was quite angry for 2 weeks. I allowed myself 2 weeks to be annoyed, but then I found I was getting more annoyed about the fact that I'd lose the house, not her.
Yeah.
And I thought, do you know what? She's right. If I'm more annoyed that I lose my financial security than I am about losing my wife, then it really wasn't right for
Well,
us.
looking back on it now, I realise that I used to lie in bed when my husband was out drinking till 3 o'clock in the morning, thinking, if he falls in the river on the way home and dies, the house will be paid for. And then I realised that, you know, that's
Yeah,
not the sort of thought
That's
you should
not
be having,
no.
is it?
That's not what you want. But you know,
There
it's
you go.
Sad, isn't it, really?
it is sad.
Oh, it's when
but-
you meet the person that's not quite right for you, or they're right at the time, and then, you know.
But the thing is, we all change, don't we? And I think that's
Yeah. And I think we had such a good time when we were younger together, so that was great.
yeah.
Yeah. And then
I
you
think-
Then we both changed, and
I think with my ex-wife, we'd have been better off just being good mates.
Yeah.
Or we should have stayed mates for a lot longer before we got married, and that was my fault. I was supposed to hold fire, and I just got too excited.
you get sort of caught up in it all, don't you? That's the thing.
Yeah, and I think because it was my first proper serious relationship ever, I think I was in love with the idea of being in love as well. I mean, she was a lovely person.
But of course,
And
when
she
you
still
first-
is.
When you first get together with somebody, of course, it's more than love, isn't it? It's more sort of a lusty physical.
Yeah, and the excitement and the getting to know
So
and
heightened, isn't it?
But
Yeah.
then when it all settles down, and you think,
In
oh
real
my
life.
God, what am I doing?
I think that's what happened with us. We had the kids. We'd been together for so long without having children and just doing what we liked
Yeah.
for like 10 odd years, and then all of a sudden we had a kid. It was like,
Mm.
we
And,
can't do this.
mm.
Are we doing any background, Barry?
no.
No.
I think at 4 o'clock.
Is it 4 o'clock?
Yeah, I have this knack of allowing time to disappear just by waffling and making you all feel sorry for me. Listening to my woes and my boil. I haven't got any boils. That's one thing I've got going for me. I'm quite a catch. I'm boil free.
I haven't got any at the moment.
You're glad you came in this afternoon, are you, Robert?
Oh, yeah.
Did you?
Well, at least it's warm.
Exactly. You say nothing more. The flapjack's good and it's warm.
Yeah, exactly. Nice flapjack and it was nice.
What more do you want?
Oh, do you know what though? 4 o'clock, I can't believe it.
No, and that's what's nice. I like the fact that we're all there. I mean, everybody on Facebook is they're either sobbing over their squirrel or they're sobbing over my love life.
Probably crying with laughter.
Yeah. Well,
Are they commenting? You see,
no,
I
they've all gone quiet.
cannot sit at home and not make comments.
No, me
I might
neither.
just as well be here doing it because I have to keep on joining in.
Yeah, I keep having to stop to type.
Exactly. And it's
Right. So there we go.
You can just crack on and do it, can't you?
Well, Squirrel.
I'm just checking that I've not lost any.
Is everybody there?
I don't know. We might have lost someone, but I can't.
Everywhere.
It all depends on internet, doesn't it?
Sometimes you don't notice the comments. That's very frustrating.
No, it's
Isn't
because it doesn't
You type
update.
something and he doesn't see it.
Yeah,
and
or
you're
then,
like,
and then he sees it later on and it's not, you know,
Whilst
doesn't
the moment.
reference what you're talking about then, and the moment's gone.
Yeah, because I don't know when you've said it all
No.
the time, and it might just come up.
You've got to know.
But then I have the screen that doesn't update, so then I have it on my phone, but then I'm looking that way, so then I have to look that way. It's quite frustrating.
You should know
But
that when Sue and I are on, you need to keep your eye on the phone.
I know.
You can't keep quiet.
Very, very entertaining.
Dee says she's listening, boils and all. I haven't got any boils. Don't you start getting the Banbury Guardian ringing me up about my boils, because
Harry and his boils.
I've just picked up a little 2B. Yeah. Hey, look, if it brings me some customers,
What, your boils?
I'll do anything. I won't.
Could we draw one week, mate?
Draw a boil.
Oh, no.
Thank you, Kate. I'm glad. How did your first week back go?
Oh, poor Kate, she's had us tucked.
It was a tricky one, wasn't it? But it's one of those when you do something like this, it's a very repetitive action, which is why the hours have gone, because it's almost a meditative state, because it's constantly doing the same thing, either with an embossing tool or with a smudgy stick or with the pencil. It's
Yeah.
that repetitive motion, so it's not like a landscape. So like doing an animal or doing a squirrel or a tree, they're similar because it's very repetitive, whereas doing a landscape or a building, you have to think a lot more, don't you? But something like this is really,
We can talk about boils and draw at the same time.
yeah, so you're actually multi-talented.
What colour did you colour his peanut?
Just 7B, but leave the ridges.
You never told me you
The
used
st- the
7B.
start. No, I know. I've never used a 7B before at all. Yeah, no, I think that's worked out well. So next week, I've already forgotten what I told you next week is. Oh, an old ruined archway in the woods.
In the woods.
Yeah, so there will be trees and bricks.
Trees and bricks.
Trees and bricks, and hopefully you'll be able to tell the difference between each one
Yes.
when you finish next week.
Vital.
So tomorrow morning we're using inks to do a colourful sky with a tree silhouette. Good. Well, there you go, Kate. It hasn't turned out quite as bad as you thought it would. Well, that's very good, Kate. Yeah, for your first one back, well done, and it's nice to have you back.
I hope we haven't put her off with all of our boring
Well, I think
silly
Kate's done quite a few, so she's well used to my waffle. I have to warn people now if they book on.
I do feel sorry sometimes when it's something brand new. and we-
Well, I warn them, and I mean, obviously, since lockdown, I had to ramp up the waffle
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
to help people,
Yeah.
and now I don't think anybody would like it if I didn't.
No.
It would be weird
Well, it
if
would
I
be.
was quiet for like 20 minutes or
Well, it
something.
wouldn't kind of be normal, would it?
No,
Chatting.
the new normal.
The new normal.
Boils. Boils and squirrels.
Boils
What?
and divorces.
We'd
Yeah.
be going, Harry, are you there?
Yeah. Well, you know, Kate says the minister rang up. I had to cut her off. I can't talk now. I'm drawing a squirrel with some people in Banbury. I love it. Do apologise for her, but tell her the squirrel was worth it and appreciated it. Friday morning we're doing ancient Egyptian art history. So that's art and ceramics and everything.
And boils.
And boils. I'm sure they knew how to lance them. Friday afternoon is a view of Lindisfarne in watercolour. Nothing over the weekend. Saturday morning is drawing a monkey. And it's a macaque monkey.
That's going to be a lot of
A macaque monkey at Manu National Park.
embossing, isn't it?
It's only his head
Oh,
in amongst leaves, and I think they'll prefer the monkey to the leaves, to be honest. Monday evening is doing
I'm lancing a boil on
an autumn wood. Tomorrow afternoon is an autumn wood in watercolour. Tuesday afternoon is Amadablam.
Oh,
Amadablam.
Okay.
So are you a dabbler for an Amadablam? It's a mountain range in the one of the big mountain ranges. Anyway, Amadablam. It's not Fred Flintstone because that's Yabba Dabba Doo.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is Abba Dablam. Tuesday evening is a boat on a lake, and next Wednesday is your ruined archway.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, Heather says, please keep up the waffle. You will regret that.
nice.
That is squirrel now.
That is squirrel.
It's gone from chipmunk to squirrel. So yeah, it has changed species to the appropriate one, and that's
not
good.
The sign of a Winston Churchill.
No,
No.
not a Churchillian.
What's a Churchillian
Squirrel.
squirrel?
So thank you very much for your company. I've thoroughly enjoyed this afternoon. and I will post the photo of the squirrel. I really like this. And D, I know you said on Thursday that I should start considering doing prints off some of my drawings, because obviously they're in my sketchbooks, and I've got about 9 or 10 sketchbooks, and I don't want to take them out. So if I can get some nice photographs, maybe I could do a few prints, because that would look nice on a mug.
It would.
They would also make nice cards.
Yes,
Because actually sometimes a drawing on a card, it can be really quite effective.
it can, and it can be more multi-use, because it can be sombre as well as fun.
Why don't you do some Christmas cards?
Squirrels, or robins. Yeah, I must have some. I've got some Christmas cards from last year, because nobody was buying anything last year.
Snowy telephone box.
Yes, I will look and see what we can do. But thank you so much. Yes,
Christmas
cards.
bauble once.
We did a Christmas bauble.
Yes, I remember
Well,
that.
that would be good, wouldn't it? But have we done any holly or anything?
No, I haven't. You know, and I think the reason why I don't do much in the way of holly is because it's really hard, because it's dark green but shiny
Yeah.
with a bright yellow green underside. And the leaf, it doesn't look like a leaf because it's got no texture, because it's really smooth. But it'd be an interesting one to do.
What to do?
Right, so thanks ever so much, everyone. Take care. Have a wonderful week, because it's Hump Day. Happy Hump Day. And I don't know if it's well, we're still on American time, so it's still a no bones day in America
Is it?
until this evening.
Little dog.
So it's a no bones day. So look after yourselves. It might have changed by now. I can give you the forecast. Let me see if I can find it.
Have you got your little machine up here, Barry? Or
I have, yeah.
You managed. I'll pay for
Let me just.
Friday.
I'm just going to quickly check if it's a bones day or a no bones day for us to go through our afternoon.
Is that little girl? Kath's little girl there?
Oh, hang on. What's the date today? The 27th.
Yeah.
He hasn't posted yet. It's usually around 4 o'clock that he posts in the afternoon here. So it's still a no bones day. So take care, everybody. Take care. See you soon. Stay safe. Bye bye.
Bye bye.